to the Dialectic Space podcast. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. It's with me again, Ibrahim Sonko, Bafla Albeko, Albisimila to the Bantaba Dialogue. Today, I have with me two gentlemen, President of National People's Party, Student Wing President Yusuf Tunkara is with me, and also my very good friend as well, which somebody I haven't seen in a while, Ibrahima Fadera. We did a lot of student politics together at the University of the Gambia. Wonderful person. And obviously, my co-host is Omar Malmo Sambu. He was meant to be here. I hope he joins us eventually. But gentlemen, I'll be Mbafla Mumeko. Bismillah. Welcome to the show. I'll want to begin by letting each of you animals in your kontong and then Sadun Kachako.
Okay, thank you, Umar, Ibrahim, and for having me once again. I apologize for not coming last, not being able to make it last time. So, greetings to my brother, my seniors. You guys are my seniors when it's come to UTG. Once a senior, always a senior. So, good to be in your mid today. Ala do man no kandoro.
I think you'll be
Yes.
fine. Thank you for being here. Yes, Ibrahim, go ahead.
Yes, Assalamualaikum. It's been a while, honestly,
It's been a while.
and
It's good to
it's
see you.
great to be here. I'm happy to be here, and Yusuf, well, Gallup in social media. I didn't know him in person, but he seems to be a very nice guy, and obviously, I'm looking forward to a fruitful discussion today. And I say Assalamu alaikum to all your audience. And before I go, Tom, I wanted to congratulate you for having such a wonderful platform
Thank you.
where people can express divergent views. We
Thank
tend
you.
to agree and disagree, but at the end of the day, we are doing this for our nation. So therefore, once again I want to congratulate you and your co-host, Mal.
Thank you very much, brother. I really appreciate that. And sort of again, like Ibrahim said, I think Mbeke je like a doko minke online. So for me, I don't take it lightly. When people come here, I like to acknowledge just how important that is for me because it's important. We can all disagree politically. We can all be on different political sides, but at the end of the day, we have to give each other the opportunity for us to dialogue. Because nimman dialogue te nyomo la no. Ni da sita dorong ye Ibrahim jana ko Ibrahim fadera be UDP le ina da siya le kacha. Wala yente jana ko Ibrahim be somewhere else la ini Ibrahim de kacha la wala Ibrahim man na pati like. How do you intend to have me on your side? So I always like to give my guests and acknowledge just how appreciative I am of the fact that they're willing to come and have a conversation. But also, I can speak of my good brother Ibrahim, whom I have known for nearly a decade. We did a lot of university student politics together. Wonderful human being overall. He was also, I think, president of the students' union of one of the schools at the University of the Gambia, and he is now a very serious supporter of UDP as a political party. So, to that end, I just would like to say this is not a debate between NPP and UDP or NPP and UMC or NPP and another part. This is literally a conversation about ongoing current issues in the Gambia, as we often do every Saturday on the Bantaba. So, to that end, I would like us to begin just on a general note as Gambians. I think the first thing all of us need to address, or at least talk about, is Baba Jala, Imam Baba Leila recent comment. Not Baba Jala. I say Baba Jala because you made mention of Baba Jala to me yesterday. So hakilo Baba Jala can Hanisai, but not Baba
Yeah.
Jala. I thought as Gambians, as brothers, as people, all of us belong to tribes as well. Part of being Gambian is the fact that we also have our ethnic identifications. It's not the single most important thing, but it is part of what makes us who we are. It's the reason why we speak certain languages. It's the reason why we are raised a certain way. It's the
Thanks.
reason we do certain things. There's a whole ethnic
Yes.
civilization that comes with your tribal identity. So I think that is important. Yusuf, need settle the dominant. Just let me know. That way.
Yes, I think I am. I'm
Okay.
trying to move to another location.
Okay.
Good.
Good. But I want to first begin by checking in either of you what you make of the
Am
comments
I
made
good?
by. Yes, you're good. You're
Okay.
good. I want to check with both of you to ask you what do you make of Imam Baba Leila comment I mean make apparently on a TikTok live during a Unite conversation when people were having just general conversation about Esafal in Talib Lako, and then he had a mic drop. Apparently his mic was not muted, and he was making certain troubling comments to somebody else, and he was live recorded, and this interview, I mean, this conversation was made public. It's as troubling as it is damning, and I think it's also unfortunate because it's coming from an individual of such significant stature, respectability as a commissioner of the National Human Rights Commission. But most prominently is also the fact that he is a scholar in the Gambia. All of those things add up to what makes this even much more troubling. But I'll begin with Ibrahima. What do you make of Imam Baba Leigh statement or any make, and how can we insulate ourselves from this tribal rhetoric and what seems to be political propaganda?
Tom, thank you very much for this question. I think generally, I'm just going to give because I don't like to talk about travel issue. What I always wanted to do is to name them and shame them as an individual.
Mhm.
It's not a general action; it's an individual action.
Yeah.
Ni ajibe babali min ketabulu. Dama dengo ni meta kuo kela duma. If you have been doing things, on the ground, ala fong like exposed.
Mhm.
There was a time that Babali came out and said that ko barong fulol de amanke mandingod. All right, and that generated a lot of debate in our society, and all of a sudden, it faded away, and we forgot about it. And this time around, the same Babali Alaya exposed. But what I wanted to say to Gambians is that what is important for all of us to understand is that Gambian do better than that. You understand? And once such kind of things happen, what we need to do is, as a community, is to come out. You understand? And then vehemently reject an individual, call him out. You understand? And also not only stopping by calling him out, because you remember Babali is sitting at one of the highest institutions. Let's say, this is an institution that coordinate how integrity, how society should be managed,
Yes.
all right, National Human Rights Commission. So if Babali is found wanting doing such kind of behavior, then we should come collectively, we should come together and call for his resignation. For me, that's what I believe in. Because if we allow him to stay, we've seen other people, many along we allow them to stay, and all of a sudden nothing comes out of it.
Mhm.
All right, it is not something. I always say, I have seen people saying that it's a coordinated thing and stuff like. No, it's not a coordinated thing. It's an individual behavior. We have to call out an individual. All right, when he was doing it, he did it as an individual. He didn't do it in a form of a community or sort of like that.
Mhm.
So momo aketa momo bulu nyanda wala kumandila nyanda min rambe min kono nyanda wala fola min tambida and min bina ankana o insinuate. But what we are in right now, nyanda wala condemn la.
Yeah.
So for me, I condemn it in totality. Ndol Gambia, we are one big
Mhm.
family. It are a family o family kono mandika family ebe fulo tarraje ebe jola tarraje ebe sorwa. They personally in the family, nte barindingol be mu fulo, let me say. So if an individual is doing such kind of a thing, and what is important, what is interesting about Babali Nyimfongo, you see, when Babali was caught, for him to exonerate himself, what he was trying to do was, to shift the blame
Yeah.
to
Or
other people,
justify.
telling them that,
Mhm.
yeah, telling them that, okay, I don't like how full nyanta full finding Banko kan. But in reality, those people were not saying that.
Yeah.
All right, he just wanted to use that as a cover up. So Gambia Darale, Punto down near Babali from la family, Kona Jive, other tribes, Raja, and stuff like that. All right, in one way or the other. So we are interrelated and we are interconnected. We should not allow an individual, you understand, to destroy such kind of a harmony. Gambia is a very peaceful country, regardless of political difference, regardless of our religious difference, but we still maintain and manage our peacefulness.
Yeah.
So for me,
Yeah.
I totally condemn it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ibrahim, you say one favor, can you know, because now we have four of us. You say like camera locate now so that you are fully into the frame itself. And then Yusuf, I want to ask you, Ibrahim made very important comments. I think the question of this is an individual responsibility, more killing than for Imam Baba Leigh, and we should treat it as such. But if you also see individuals like Miliaran could be NPP, say Sid Njai, for example, and the troubling remark I mentioned before that came to light. And now you see somebody like Imam Baba Leigh, Mia Lon Kofanang, he's been hired or appointed by the president to be part of the National Human Rights Commission. And these things keep coming. To what extent do we also have to start asking the question, to what extent is the president himself emboldening this or approving this? Or should we not connect these two at all?
Well, thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you for having me. My bro is trying to come in, Mr. Malmo. I think this is the second time I will share a platform with him. But before, then I will go straight to what my brother emphasized on.
Yes, and you're
That is
welcome. You're
the,
welcome to speak any language. I mean, Mandinka. I cannot speak
yes.
Sarahule, but you're welcome to speak
Okay.
Mandinka too.
Yes, actually, I would love to do that. I think
Yes.
I speak Mandinka than even Wolof. Huh?
Okay. Good.
So
So.
that's all and how Gambia is.
Mhm.
We are all one family, to be
Yeah.
honest. The Bibring Walter Sumanda Nganyinji, I thought initially someone like that when I saw the picture and stuff. So I have to look for the video. So when I start getting the audio, and I was like, okay, wow, this is real. This is real. It's not Fenko. So it reminded me of what happened in England last time, as I think some 5 years ago, when British Prime Minister somehow was briefing the Queen Elizabeth II that he's receiving the two most fantastic corrupt countries, when actually most of those countries, their head of delegations, their head of state, they are already in England. Some people said, I remember for Nigeria, some people said the president should not go, he should go back. And he said he did not listen. He went back and attended the program. But I also told England that now that you said we are corrupt, we are fantastically corrupt, then our corrupt monies are kept in your country. So return it back to Nigeria. So that the same thing go back to what Baba Leigh just said. I concur with what my brother said. Let's deal with this as individuals so that we don't escalate it further. It's Baba Leigh that said this, and for me personally, I condemn it in totality, and not only from Imam Baba Leigh, but I condemn every tribal rhetorics in our society. I don't want to be called Sarahule, honestly. I don't want to be asked, are you Sarahule? Anybody who knows me in UDG knows that. People used to, I think most of my colleagues got to know I'm Sarahule at almost when we are about to end our 4 years of UTG studies. I have friends that I've been with them, they're Christians. I think 2 or 3 weeks before we graduate, I got to know they're Christian. We were literally together. So for me, I don't want to give too much emphasis on this. We just have to condemn it. And then Imam Babali is a very senior citizen. He should not be making either you mean it or you don't mean it, or that either you try to justify it. That is not the point. The point is we should not have that kind of opinion on towards each other. I mean, Gambia is a country where we are all very much deeply connected to our ethnic nationalities, and nobody want to be seen. Nobody will take for anybody, including your wife that you've married. If your wife that you married in your house that is from another ethnic national and starts indicating somehow, you know, this kind of thing in your home, you will not be happy. It will not go down well for your house. So talk less of a senior citizen like Imam Baba Leigh. So for me, I want us in condemning it as well. Let us also not give too much prominence to this. Let's make sure that not only authority, but all of us collectively, we treat this as individual error. That is Baba Leigh, and that is define who he is and what he believes in. I mean, I would love for him to come out and apologize and not to continue justifying what happened. For me, that's what I have to say.
Yeah. Thank you, Omar. I want to ask for your take about all of this because I think it's important for us to spend some time to examine the implications of or the gravity of this statement by such an important figure in the country. Now, just a quick reaction to Yusuf. I think at the end of the day, I said this in my video. All of us can embrace who we are because I think our tribal identities is part of who we are. It does not make up, like, it's not the single makeup of who we are. It's not the single most important thing, and it shouldn't be. But I also think it's okay if you want to know who I am. I'm Mandinka, Mba Mandinka, Mfa Mandinka, Nte Bosungo, Be Mandinka. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to look down upon somebody. Me, I don't care, Musara Huledi, Ole Musuruwadi, Me Fulodi. My tribe is part of my identity, but it's not the single most important thing. I think that is the point. But because tribes have become so sensitive that we're at a place where people don't even want to have conversation about it. And the truth is, as much as we're such a collective community, we marry each other, we have so many of our stuff that are so connected in terms of community and our whatever, the way we live. But neither at the national politics, the way we deal with tribal and this is why this becomes such an important conversation. But Malmo, what do you make of such troubling comment by our commissioner of the National Human Rights Commission, somebody who is also a religious leader, Moleka Salakoma? A lot of people look up to him too. So that puts this at a whole layer of significance in terms of the troubled nature of a comment like this. But what do you make of it?
All right, thank you. First, let me say, I greet you, Tunkara. That's a great guy. It's always great to see a platform with you.
Actually,
Ibrahim.
Tunkara,
Thank you.
Malmole Henry Fire. Actually, it was Malmo who actually recommended that we need to have a
So
conversation with you. So,
he's,
Malmo,
he's
thank
a
you.
he's a
Thank
he's
you.
a great guy.
Yeah.
He's
Thank
very
you.
level headed. Even though he supports NPP, I think he's a true patriot. So I love him for that. Uh, you know,
Thank
uh,
you.
Ibrahim is pure UDP, but that's my brother. So for him, I don't even mind. That's family. So he can always do his whatever. But na mo kenda balamati fadera. So it's good to have both of you in here and to have a conversation on that specific thing. I did not even know we were going to talk about what Baba Leigh said. Honestly, I don't discuss tribe, bro. So that's just one part one thing that I have all my life don't discuss because personally. My children are 25% of 4 tribes. What am I going to discuss tribes about? If they have Fulani part, they got like a Jola part, they got a Mandinka part, and they got a Wolof part. So what am I going to say? So what people say barely, they take full responsibility for what they say. What I
Yeah.
believe in is that at the end of the day, we are all the same people. We are all one people. We all the common denominator here is not just our country, but even the social fabric of our society. We are all interconnected and interrelated. But of course, people in their unguarded moments, what they feel like to say or what is in them, they take full responsibility for that. And I would not say either, they are right or they're wrong or whatever. If that's how they feel about other people, that's basically what they want to say. It's on them. But what I know and what I can say is that, Moro, don't be bad in killing, don't be more killing, Hadamadungo be Hadamadungo. So, akolera nyao nyan. So ko momi ya long ko ka bara dino la karola dino emin fo hadama din kunda to anen, moli olon ne. So in si fatam fancy for mol kaimo. I don't give prominence or relevance to all of that. I want to discuss politics of our country. I want to discuss matters that will bring about, meaningful development to our people. I want to give everybody their respect and their due and whatever that, wolo mito la nyanto te mobe o di mola, including even the NPP that I oppose. I would treat them with utmost respect and make sure that and believe that these are people that we all share the same country. And then just as I feel like supporting another person or to have a contrary opinion, they have an entitlement to their opinion. But what I could make up of this is that when the conversation was on, it was like different even as it was on a Unite platform, because that context matters. Like these people were having a conversation about politics, and you know how tense politics can be. So
Mhm.
if you are not part of the conversation, you're just a listener. And then without understanding the people that are having the conversation because they speak in a particular language. Now, not knowing that, okay, you've joined the conversation and you feel they are angry and you say, oh, why are these people angry? And then you put it in a tribal, characterization that is problematic.
Yeah.
But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, if I am angry, maybe I have a right to be angry that I want to
Yeah.
remove the NPP government. I might have a right to be angry because I believe it's a corrupt government. I might be angry because I think 2 terms is okay for any person to lead our country. I might be angry because I think some of the thoughts they are doing is more or less, a flamboyant lifestyle of public resources. I might be angry because I believe that the removal of the Auditor General is wrong. I should be angry because I believe that the constitution they should have brought, they deliberately refused to do so. So even if you think in those political discussions, those people were angry, they might have a reason to be angry. And that is why they want to form political parties and to have conversations about our politics to remove a government that they believe is not fit for purpose. So I will not take it from that ethnic point of view, but in a sense, when we have conversations, we have reasons to have those conversations. And
Yeah.
that is why we invite different parties and different, people in different sectors because they have a stake in what we think we have a stake too. And we all have equal stakes. And that's one thing I like about Yusuf. He might be whatever with his NPP, but he's moderate. He's responsible and he's respectful.
Yeah.
And my brother
So
he's also another very, interesting scholar. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree. But I think, we have to have conversations beyond what just an individual literally holding a whole country at ransom because of what they feel like to say. It does not
Yeah,
define anybody. And that is not the reflection of our society and our people. So in
yeah.
totality, I think that is inappropriate and was not something that one needed to say.
Now, I mean, obviously, I think for a lot of people, and I think I can also understand it, if individual like Malmo, as a matter of principle, do not like to talk about ethnicities or tribes specifically, because I think everybody look at it differently. Now, I don't like talking about tribes, but I like to talk about tribes in the context of our politics because I think it has an important bearing. It has always been here. Kabirin Jawara Taimo, Jambinata, and put it on steroids, and today it is still here. And that brings me to the question I want to ask Yusuf, then Fudala Ibrahim, because we have the whole SFL Talib and Bensuda debate that I'm sure Ibrahim and Malmo are going to go into in a bit. But Yusuf, with all of these things happening, a lot of people are arguing, because of the reason I'm asking you this specifically is because you are part of the NPP executive. You are the national student president of NPP. People are saying that this is advantageous to the president to use the divide and conquer sort of politics, because he comes across as though Amunyin see Karlene, then the next day he comes across as is different, which also could be good because he needs to come across as a unifier. So I get that. But inadvertently, in doing that, he could also intentionally use that to make it certain communities look certain way so that the rest, in terms of numerical advantage, could come together to vote for him. This is the question I want to ask you. Do you think that NPP is also somewhat complicit in terms of this tribal propaganda and rhetoric? Do you have people in your party that approve of? No, I'm asking you. You're laughing. It's a serious matter. If Sidin Jai makes certain statements like this, and Sidin Jai is a member of the NPP, it's a national executive, it begs the question whether this is an internal party politics issue. So I want to ask you that what can you tell us about this? How, in any way, shape, or form, are you guys benefiting from this, or this is a single individual issue?
Well, for me and for NPP, this anybody who try or involved in politic of ethnicity is that person. It show who that person is, and that is how that person operate and do his or her politics. I mean, there was no time MPP as a body, either the leadership or at any level, have make any directive secretly or publicly to its members that we should embark on a tribal war to gain power. That has never happened, at least not to my knowledge.
Mhm.
However, in our in our today politics in Gambia, the reality is people do ethnic politics. We can't leave that out of the equations. That
True.
is our reality. I don't know how soon. I wish we have a final time where, or people will feel like, you know what, I'm not going to look at who he is. I'm going to vote for who I want to vote for.
Yeah.
But then sometimes people make people do that too. Okay, I don't want to accuse anybody. For instance, many people in UDP believe me, Yusuf Tunkara, who has gone to university, supported President Bor because I'm a Sarahole. That is an insult to me.
Yeah.
And I have people in UDP who literally look at me in the face and tell me I can't read policy. I can't understand what is good and what is bad. I don't know what is good for my people. I can't represent my people. I'm not speaking for my people. I'm speaking for Baro because simple he is a Sarahule, or he's been seen to be speaking Sarahule. Simple and straightforward. And to me, that's an insult.
Yeah.
And I told those people in return, it's simple. It is okay for me to believe that, then you are also supporting wherever you're supported because of your ethnicity, and that is very wrong.
Yeah. It
That
is.
is very wrong. As a young people in this country, this is our reality. People does it every day. People don't see people because sometimes you're having a distant discussion with your fellow young Gambians. You know what the person will go? They will go and seek a refugee on a tribal line. You are Sarahule. You people, I remember there was a time I said something about a very prominent person, and dafa ñëw rek tap di ma saaga mu ne yéen Sarahule ngeen yéen a yaa dëkk bi. Can you imagine that? I don't want to mention names. Running up 2021 elections, when unfortunately Uncle Dabo came out and called out Sarahules, I remember posting about it and saying that I think this is. And guess what? The prominent youth in UDP texted me and said that I am not supporting Barrow because he has a policy. I am supporting Barrow because he is a Sarahule. And you really want me to mobilize my people for you? Like, really? I told that person, like, really? I expect people like you that are handlers of this man to come to people like us and say, we are sorry. We didn't meant to say this. Or he didn't meant this, he meant this. But you are coming to my DM and putting it on my face, my damn face, that I can't think, I can't reason. This guy is Sarahule and I'm supporting because of Sarahule. Simple and said a full stop. To me, that's very wrong. That's how a politician does. So if you continue doing that, what would I do? I will also tell my people, look, these people are against us because we are who we are. And that's the truth. Because you told me who I am, and I can't think, I can't reason. I am who I am because I am where I am. So to me, this is our biggest problem in this country. It's a threat to everything, but we can't link this to a particular political party. These are people that set up group believe in this kind of game ideologies. I don't know what do they start. I remember somebody told me in clear time in UDP that then in UDP, now they are not in UDP, that we cannot remove ethnic politics from our politics. It has to be there. And I was shocked with some of those. So I have faced several times that people are very, very seen to be prominent young people. They look at you in face and tell you you can't think because you are Sarahole, you are just there. That Alka Baro support because Barom Sarahole let. Ula na because atel malong membeti at membet.
Yeah.
To me, that is the biggest insult to my person. And I even told that
Yeah.
person, like me, Yusuf Tungara, going to university, you telling me this? Then you don't want to have my vote, and you can never have my vote. Then if this is how you think,
Yeah.
so
I
it's
think,
not
yeah.
MPP thing. It's
Yeah.
to wrap it up. It is not
Mhm.
MPP thing. It is how our politicians play politics.
Yeah.
Okay, and of course, individual political parties also structurally structure themselves. Because to me, if I keep telling people, for instance, if UDP want to win the election, like I was saying that like a year ago, they should be doing things that they have not done in 2021 election. So what is it they don't do in 2021 election? They are not able to convince the other ethnic nationalities to see themselves in UDP. Therefore, they should go and get those people, open the door for them, find a way of getting them on board. So to me, these are I'm not attacking UDP, but I'm just talking about ethnic and tribal politics. How realistic it is now in our politics. People play it. Our political actors play. Of course, our political actors always see a window to mobilize people. Once
Yeah.
somebody came right and says something against a particular, for example, let me say something. When my uncle, Mama Kande came out some while ago and said that there was a voter registration audio was leaked in Sarahule group. They give voters card to Dinimul and Kokutengol, things like that. So some of us were like, wow, Mama should not have said that. But knowing who Mama is, we just understand he was just making a statement. But Mama cannot come out and justify this again. So no, you don't see anybody come out and start attacking Mama and start condemning. But people engage Mama that you're not supposed to. You can come out and say, but you don't have to mention particular ethnic name. You don't have to say Sarahule.
Yeah.
So just say it Rick,
Yeah.
and get them say on. So to me, that's how it
Yeah.
works.
I'm sure you have reactions to some of what you mentioned, especially when it comes to UDP reaching out across the aisle, which almost seems like to be, hey, this. And again, I'm trying not to make this a tribal conversation, but essentially is to reach out to other people who are non-Mandinkas to appeal to them, because that is the reality. We're at a place where it's not principally an issue-based politics. Issues matter, but identity politics also matter. And let me just say quickly, this is not unique to Gambia. In the world, identity politics is a huge thing. But Gambians don't want to talk about it because we feel it's going to divide us even more. And I know our context is different. Most of the conflicts that have claimed the lives of people in the African continent stems, at least partly, from tribal or ethnic conflicts. We know this, right? But talk to us about how important it is that people move away from the idea that you are joining political parties because you share the same last name, or that person speaks your language, or that person comes from the same tribe as you. And also, I think the important confusion or conflation of UDP and Mandinka as a perception problem in a country for most people. Because even recently, as this conversation go on, a lot of people seem to make that mistake to make this about a UDP issue, because this is not a UDP issue. This is a troubling issue that has to do with the whole civilization of people, the Mandinka tribe. And so how do we make that distinction between, on one hand, to go after a political party whose policy by no means is propagation of Mandinka hegemony, and on the other hand, you can talk about um, the Mandinkas themselves. For example, I mean, UDP as a political party, you can go after them and criticize them and talk about them because UDP is not an extension of Mandinkas. I think people need to understand. I don't know if you're understanding the analogy I'm trying to analogize for people to understand that UDP is not Mandinkas and Mandinkas are not the UDP. The vast majority in the UDP, arguably yes, but it is important to make that distinction, and I'm sure you have some reactions to that. But yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to just make some little clarifications about what Yusuf said. I would not accept anybody to go after Yusuf because of his Sarahule and supported NPP. I will condemn it, in totality. It's not right. But Ibrahim, it's also important that we also put the facts on the table.
Hmm.
We cannot deny this that co-NPP, they feed and breed on tribal line in this country. We've seen it. We have evidence of it. The president himself, in the gathering, people will take a mic and go after Mandinkas when the president will not utter any word.
Yeah.
All right. President Barrow is the senior citizen of the country. Regardless of what happened, even Usainu Dabo, our party leader, today, how to call it, President Barrow is more senior than Usainu Dabo in that country. So now let's take an example, clear example, not long ago. We have Maimuna Sise of NPP in Kiang telling Kiankas that ko nale banko di Usainu Dabola a dingol baringol will never benefit la than atol. Usainu Matol Kalanda. What is more tribal than that? And the president was sitting there, right in there. All right. And I don't want to talk about people, the past, because like Malmo said, it's not even more important in this discussion. But let's say in 2021 election also, we have similar issues. NPP are using tribal lines, you understand, to divide us and also rule us. This is what is happening. These are facts. I'm not saying this because I'm a UDP. I am saying this because it happened before all of us here. We've seen Maimuna Sise. We've seen the case of Tala Badembo. We've seen it. And you cannot say we just recently we also see Sidinjai saying the same thing. So for us to progress as a nation, all right, we have to talk about policies, programs, and individual competence. We want to give a country to Usainu Dabo, for example, our party leader. We are not looking at Usainu Dabo as a Mandinka. We are looking at Usainu Dabo as a Gambian. And that's what matters. Nigo Usain, Nigo, most of the time you have a UDP, tribal party, Mandinka party here and there. But now, you can count the executive United Democratic Party, you can count Mandinkas there, you can count other ethnic groups there. Prominent members, founding members of United Democratic Party are not even Mandinkas, majority of them. Let's talk about people like Singu Nyasi. Is Singu Nyasi a Mandinka? No. UDP came together as a group because they believe in an ideology. And that ideology is what the principle, the integrity, is what they stood for almost 30 years. All right? They've never divided. Regardless of all these things. You see, if I'm in the Kwokumi Alongo Tonyata Akuna, Abukalaba, with all this
Hmm.
accusation on United Democratic Party, how Mandinka Party them tending teneng adunta jana afintita jana. Eventually, people me along Keja they are propagating these tribal lines are not used are known.
Ibrahim, Tom.
Can you hear me, Tom?
Yes, okay, well, but let's screen out on the Manding. It's been tilted the other way around. Ibrahim, come well. Just a turn
I'm not
around
getting
to
you clear.
the other one. Okay, I can take you out and then bring you back if that's okay. Then we'll just have Ngalong Yusuf. I want to move on because Ngalong Marmo,
But
as
I
my
have to. I
co-host,
want to
wants us to
react. I
move
want
on.
to react to this.
Okay, because
Please.
Marmo wants to move
Uh,
on, I'm sure.
I wish Ibrahim is here so I can react to it. You know.
Okay. Yes,
Like my
yes.
Kamal Harris would say it to his face.
That's funny.
So Ibrahim is saying things that honestly I'm not adding up. Okay, I don't want us to go too much into tribal line, but the reality is either it's true or not. Okay, good that Ibrahim is back. Either true or not. The perception is what people are dealing with, and you cannot say NPP is the one that driving on in tribal line. NPP is likely from UDP. If you if
So I
I
think I'm
think
not
Swali
getting you.
Akumato is likely from UDP, from President Maro down to most of the senior members of the UDP. If MPP is a tribal party, literally UDP is the chairman of the tribal party. So we can't call that. Let's just not go there because anything in MPP is from UDP. So now formula joge NPP con. That is one. Number two, in 2021, running to the elections, Usain Dabo stand on a podium and said that there are some Sarahulas in URR that thinking that they own President Barrow. They did not vote for him in 2016 elections. And they know him very well. If he comes to URR, he will lay them down. Kenya fede tilola. I will have in Manekon. Yellow and Nina Jimbe fede la tilola. And he made mention of this. The candidate at that time, he is a candidate at a very critical situation in our country history. Going to the election, just few weeks to the election. I remember it was in November and December was our election. I was then in Dubai when I heard about that. The deputy party leader of United Democratic Party, Anti Ajayam Seka, what did he say? Alinga Mandinkaya Fasa. Who condemned that? So if you said Maimuna says a Mandinka like Hussein Dabo. If Maimuna Sise stand on a podium and said, Nale Kardefa Hussein Dabo, Amamarimole be benefit, he's just playing politics. Trump will say to Kamala Harris, if he vote for her, she's going to hand over the country to foreigners. People take that as a Trump being anti-foreigners. But Trump would play the card for his audience. He wanted his audience to believe in him. So when I was playing politics, the reason that is old enough, he cannot govern. But you cannot take that as to be a tribal, and you cannot accuse MPP, MPP like MPP have not banked on any tribalism. Look at MPP leadership hierarchies. How many Sarahulas are you even seen there? As Rahules are fighting because they want MPP to be no. For us, we are in for Gambia. But like I said, the honor is on United Democratic Party leadership to embrace other people. That's the reality. Look at their party structure. Tell me one prominent Sarahule in UDP structure. One that is prominent. So why can't you? Are you telling me you don't have any friend? You cannot attract them to your party. You keep pushing people away from you, and you expect them to run into you. No, hell no, I can't do that. You don't push me, and I'll keep running. Barrow embraced everybody. That is why he was able to get people. He embraced people. So let's not get there. Kavoko, you MPP like that was MPP tribalism embraced that was UDP chairman oti. Yankuba Dabo when they are fighting with KMC mayor, Lord Mayor what did Yankuba post on his Facebook page? The senior member of the Democratic Party. Mome malla fi mandinkan party nyadun kola ye fundiere la party lo. I wala for. Why would Yankuba say that? The chairman of area council and the senior executive, UDP mo kiliman fundije, Yankuba condemn. Not because he was internal politics, but because the language itself was unnecessary. He didn't say memo malla usenda. Ako memo malla mandinka party leadership la. So please, ngana nyonene yalo nyinko ninko mbajamba la ninko mbeko. If you want to open the old wounds, it's going to be too bad. Do you get? So that's not good area. So UDP, when it comes to this tribal politics, they are not, for me, if Baba Leigh was not that
Serif.
political name,
Comme
ni
mina
Baba
min
Leigh
fala
konu,
Omar. Omar ya
Ibrahim,
Gambia.
no, ni Baba
Omar
Leigh
no.
konu, ni Baba Leigh konu. UDP is a tribal party. I wouldn't
Nam.
have said anything.
Omar iko.
Do you get?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Ngo,
Okay.
ni Baba Leigh kono, nama maninga ufono. Ni Baba Leigh ko, UDP was a tribal party. I wouldn't have said anything. I wouldn't have condemned it.
Why?
But because he mentioned Mandinka, because he's a tribal party. So the tribal party is left for government to see if it's tribal party or not. But I'm condemning Baba Leigh because he made mention of tribal, particular tribe, which is wrong for me. Completely wrong. But not a if it comes from a politician, I wouldn't have said anything else because I know that's what they do every time, especially now that we are going to election. But it's wrong. So I come in for Jan Umar come in try come in justify ka for MPP. Like, you cannot accept that. Everybody are MPP but UDP. Tribalism ni MPP nyunda wala. UDP nyunda because they current.
So
Even me, I was part of
you are
UDP.
accepting. So you are accepting that
No,
indeed, new political party they all exploit
they,
Siolo Milbe Gambia to their advantage. That's what you're saying.
no. What they're doing is they want to win elections. Okay. In the process of winning the elections, things that are happening are more divisive, divide us than unite us. Okay. But in NPP, even with every political party have this internal disagreement among groups, among individuals. Do you understand? But what a political party cannot impress is, uh, kakudo inda accept yin do fay dos binokon. Ndella MPP, you can never find MPP agreed ko tribalism is way out. But if I go to my people, for instance, and start mobilizing my people, and somebody see my people with me and say, is doing tribal politics. If I'm in politics, where do you expect me to mobilize people from? From Kia or Badibu? I can only mobilize
But
effectively from URR.
Yusuf, last question, and then we can move on this because again, like I said, we have a lot to go through, and I'm sure Ibrahim and Ninkom Benyinkela Jambella Jane. But last question, yes, no Mbella Jane. Last question, left in Kalamina. Really, it seems to me you're suggesting that people are leaving UDP or people are not in UDP because UDP is not interested in reaching out to the other side or other tribes to
They
come
are
join
not.
UDP.
They are not. They are not. I
Wow.
don't support Talib Bensouda,
Tom,
but they literally push him out. They are not.
Tom,
So you think that they push him out because of our ethnicity? Is that what you're suggesting?
No, I don't know. I don't know. But I was told on my face that I am supporting Barrow because I am Sarahule. People say that to me in UDP. I thank God now they left you. They pushed them out. They said this to my face. Like I can't read. I can't
Tom,
understand policies. I were talking about program. They said no, I'm not a program. I thought Barrow support because Barrow Sarahule. Who say that? Don't go for Moe.
Ibrahim,
Is
go
that
ahead.
bring people
Ibrahim.
to your phone?
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, Tom, Janina Fonko Betalanu, I was saying something very important. I wanted Yusuf to listen to me very carefully. What I am saying
Okay.
is that leadership comes with a responsibility. You understand, especially as a president. The president should not do certain action or say certain things. Many years ago, they are going to serve as an encouragement for other people to follow the same line. Why am I saying this? Is that when Sidinja issue Findilana, Maimuna Sise came out and debunked, came after Sidinja. Baroe Munefo, wala nyinde ko nini sifa ke dan dol damo nyanda duna bunko nan kana finti bantan kanyo jala. Understand? But Barrow did not say this. But let me tell you this. In America, I think when the first election of Barack Obama, he contested with one president, I forgot his name. A supporter came and took a mic. He wanted to say a negative thing about Barack Obama.
It's John McCain.
That president, John McCain, came out and and told him that Barack Obama is a decent guy. And he did not allow that individual to continue whatever tribal or whatever description he wanted to use on Barack Obama. That is leadership, bro. That is what we expect from President Barrow. You should not allow his platform. When president is in the platform, we are not looking at him as an MPP guy. We are looking at him as a statesman. You understand? Everybody in that country, you understand, is in the hands of President Barrow, including you and me, Hussein Udaba, and any other person. So what I am saying is that if Barrows come out today, you understand, and say and speak to the nation today, what is happening right now, the impact is going to make will be huge than you and me, Malmo and Ibrahim are sitting on this platform talking about this tribal issue. So this is what we have to accept. What MPP is doing is not right, bro, and it can never be right anywhere. People attacking you for you being Sarahule, I don't accept that. But this was a personal level, all
And that
right?
is
It was
UDP. These
not
are
done.
UDP people. They
No,
are
listen,
UDP.
it was not done. You said, based on what you said, it was a conversation between you and an individual. But this is something that is in the public domain now. We are all seeing it, we are all hearing it. So this is what we are, that's what I am emphasizing.
Where
And
did
the
Barrow
point
ever
that you are
can?
saying, no,
Let me help
the
you.
point
No,
that you
where
are
did
saying,
Barrow
no,
ever?
no,
Where did Barrow
wait,
ever embrace
allow me.
tribalism?
No,
One
hello.
give us one instance where Barrow publicly acknowledged and embraced tribalism.
Listen, they said silence is a consent. Do you know that? You know that I know that. So if a President Barrow is in the platform, he has not he hasn't taken the mic yet to speak or say whatever it is. It was not his turn, and somebody came and took the mic and say something related to tribal issue. And the president, we all know whenever the president speaks, that's when the occasion is closer. Even the president did not take an action in that right moment, but the moment the president has an opportunity to use the podium,
That was a
at that
political
moment
gathering.
he should no,
That was a
even a
political
political
gathering.
gathering,
And they
regardless
have
of
said,
whether being a
and he have
political
said he
gathering.
said
No,
it in a
no,
political gathering. Nobody
listen,
said anything.
yeah,
People were attacking him
just
for
allow
how.
me, bro. We cannot have a
Okay,
decent
okay,
conversation if
gentlemen.
you don't allow me.
Each of you will have 1 minute to wrap up. We need to save time.
Yes,
I understand this is very emotional.
absolutely true.
1 minute, Ibrahim.
So
1 minute to make your final analysis, and then Sirif will respond. Then we move on, please. 1 minute, each of you.
absolutely. So what I'm saying is saying that UDP are the ones pushing the agenda of tribalism in that country. And that's why they are not going after other ethnic groups. I tell him UDP. If you look at the percentage of non-Mandinkas in UDP, all right, has overshadowed the other ethnic groups. The other ethnic groups, if you count them, in fact, go to West Coast and go to other places, bro. You cannot just pinpoint and say, okay, this is a Mandinka dominated country, a Mandinka dominated, how to call it, party, and UDP is not reaching out to non-Mandinkas. You know what you are saying is not right. You know it, and I know it, and everybody know it. We should not. We should be discussing about policies, programs of the parties, and what they stood for, rather than talking about not going for Mandinkas, not going for this and that. No, we are hearing NPP guy telling other ethnic group, ni UDP in Banco Taibal, Baila in Banco. Is that not an evidence to all of us here, Ibrahim? We are all in that. We need to
Sirif. Mhm.
condemn this reality. Na ketantela nyanda pinda nga condemn na ketantela nyanda. So
Yes. Thank you.
Just
Yusuf. Sorry, Yusuf.
Just to set the
Quickly,
record
please.
straight, 1 minute.
Yes.
One
Okay.
minute.
1 minute.
First,
Yes.
I did not say UDP is a tribal party. I did not say UDP is not reaching out to the other tribe because they are a tribal party. What I said, I was reacting to your allegation that MPP is the one that driving the tribalism. I said if MPP drive a tribalism, then UDP is the chairman of tribe because MPP is largely from UDP. That is my first point. Second point, I did not say that people attack me because of based on tribal. Like I said there are people, tribal rhetoric has been made by UDP members against people, and they see people like me as I'm not supporting Barrow because he's competent, but because he's a tribal person. So that for me that is wrong. So if you want people to support you, you need to get them. You need to accommodate everybody. And tribalism is not should not be accommodated. But then we cannot single-handedly say is in this particular party that is doing tribalism. People do their politics to mobilize their people. If the NPP, UDP, for me, if UDP accuse NPP of tribalism, I always say proudly, UDP is the chairman of Tribal Association because
Yeah.
NPP is largely from UDP.
Okay, gentlemen, we're going to move on. Ibrahima, if you need the camera turn no kotenke, you are already looking differently again. But gentlemen, let's
oh
move
really?
on. Yes,
I don't know why my camera is looking
just turn your
differently.
phone around. I don't know why he does that, but I'm gonna take you um out
Okay.
one more time and then readmit you. Hopefully that sorts out the problem. But part of just quickly as Ibrahima come in, Omar, part of why Ibrahima is here is because when we were hosting Binta Diba yesterday when we were having the conversation, Ibrahima was in the comments and he said he disagrees with you and he wants to have a conversation with you. Um Ibrahima, I don't know why this is still the case, but maybe let me turn
Is it okay,
bangaji.
Tom?
No, you just look different. You look weird to all of us right now. Maybe turn your phone. You were doing it differently than the rest of us.
Okay.
Yeah, but yes. So Mafuka Malmo and Neko, the reason you oh he's gone. So Ibrahim wants us to debate the SR file vis-a-vis Unite debacle that has been going on now for a little bit, and I think he said he disagreed with you, Malmo, and He wanted to come on the show yesterday, but we didn't have chance for it. So I asked him to come on, and I'm sure Yunus also has opinions about it in light of Barola Grand Coalition that looks pretty formidable right now, having Mama Kande on his side, and for them, their position is that it's a wrap now. But I think we should begin there. Jenny Ibrahim Abina. Yusuf, what do you make of Mama joining you guys? Do you think this election is a foregone conclusion, or do you think you guys still need to work hard to even have more people on your side, and then Malmo can come in as well? You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
December for us has been foregone conclusion long before Mama Kande joined us. To be quite honest, we have been extremely working. I keep saying it on my social media handles. MPB is structurally more organized, more prepared to participate in election than never before. That's what that's how much, because I was around when we participated in December elections, and I've been very much for the past 24 months. I have been pretty much involved in administration of MPP at the national headquarters. So I can tell you for free, we are more prepared, more more prepared to in elections than never before. Therefore, we knew that we are on a path to the 75%. But Mama coming on board, it gives us the assurance that the long-lasting desires for our people to come together and work together has finally come to light. I actually watched the interview with my bro Malmo and Binta. Binta ngana bari unko le ngol, I think this one is the bari unka because
But we
literally
won't go for all.
see yeah Binta literally want to build her ideas in the conspiracy theory. UDP bill just to massage egos of their egos of their supporters in December 2021. I remember meeting the president immediately after the election, the very day they went to court. That day I had the privilege of sitting with the president. I told him, he said, well, today people are going to go. I said, yeah, but don't worry. They are just massaging the ego of their audience. They know that they lost the election, literally. So that's the truth. And looking at our election result, Barrow got 450 something plus thousand votes. And Mama got 105, 105,000 votes. Adding that the Barrow's vote now is 600, almost 500 to 600,000 votes. And add Mama to the entire opposition parties, Barrow still give them over a very significant number of votes as a change, keeping into his bank account. So in 5 years, with all Barrow has done for the last 5 years, then look at, of course, every government have its ups and downs. If you ask me, I would say in 2022, 2023, 2023 to 2024 was really a moment that our government experienced a very challenging moment with the government public. We acknowledge that internally deeply, and we research and reorganize ourselves to make sure that we control and change the narrative, and by making sure that what people are looking up to, we try as much as we can to meet the expectation. So Mama coming on board for us is a very, what the economics will say, is a consumer surplus for us, and it is strengthening us more and make us more prepared. And the funny thing is, the opposition continue being in this area, and it makes me very unhappy to see an opposition the way they are. As a ruling party, we are very much prepared to face a very serious opposition in the country because our democracy needs to be consolidated. We need to have an opposition who are ideally organized, mentally prepared to participate. But you know what they are waiting for? Just want to be in the ballot. So we do the next election, let them try. Why? That's not good for our position because people can't take it because last election is because they were so confused. They all have to come together. Mama, Esa, and Osenida have to come together and sit and say, even here with all the theft, according to them, it has been happening. That's what Binda was driving here yesterday. With all the Yaya and his everything, he has never still like this. How can Barrow come and still like this? But the reality, I am participant in government election. December election, I had the privilege of serving as a senior supervisor or polling agent in my area. I see the first hand how election is conducted. I worked with REC officers from the opening of the ballot boxes, from unsealing to the sealing, counting marbles one by one, confirming it. We have 700 to this. At the end of the day, we do the counting and in presence of everybody. So there is practically no possibility of rigging government election. It is put counted. When we are counted, the entire community was standing there. Nobody was hiding. Then go there and tool for I don't know what they have. Either 250, 200 or 150. We put it there, and we can everybody see it. And They have the UDP. I think it's been there. I think yeah. She said UDP have a system. What system that guy have?
Yeah.
No, election is not
So
system. It's
so
yeah.
Yusuf, you're politicking, but somebody's echoing. So if you can mute, and I'm gonna bring in Malmo now. Malmo, like I was saying a little bit, if you can react to some of what Yusuf is saying, which I think you do. Ibrahim wanted to come on because he disagreed with you on this entire um, Talib Bensouda and Unite Political Party and SFL debate that has been unfolding for a while, and I think I don't want to speak for Ibrahima, but I think Yusuf, it'll be Echo Kang, if you may mute. But I think I don't know exactly where Ibrahima disagreed with you, but I suspect is that when we're making the case that we've not seen evidence to put this to rest in terms of this whole idea that Talib Ahmed Bensouda is in fact very corrupt and that he's doing a lot of political inducement, like a Molle Joe Kodola, those arguments to have outcomes favorable. To predict to make sure political processes or democratic processes give rise to favorable outcomes to him. I suspect that's why he disagreed with you on. But you guys can have a conversation now, and then Yusuf and I would also chime in if we need to, because I'm sure Yunus, he likes this environment. Akafoleko, he's sad about the state of our opposition, but he's not being honest. He likes this because he knows it's good. But Malmo, please, immediately Batulale. So we apologize for that, but I'm sure you want to, walk us through that conversation, please, by all means.
I'm not sure where I got to take you through a conversation because I don't know what his disagreement is. But for the most part, if everybody who disagrees needs to come and debate me, I'm very, very open to that. What I've said is very clear, and I have based everything that I said on statistical facts that are irrefutable, and of course, they are not irreplaceable by ordinary thoughts. Everything that any political party today, you can't hear me?
Yusuf.
You can hear me now?
No, Yusuf, it became way.
Your
So
phone.
Yusuf, you gotta leave and come back, yeah, man. I'm gonna take you out. Just try and come back.
Moro. Dunia, ku jamala alonko, it's not what is convenient for you, but what the status quo is and what the facts are. Ndara kama lala mulla tara dumman fenso mbe justification okalaminna. So I first would probably want to hear what his disagreement is with what I've said, because I've said a lot yesterday. But one thing I do know is I don't underrate anybody who wants to debate me, but so long we are able to do that respectfully. I tell you, even that lady yesterday was very condescending and disrespectful in a way, but I still kept my cool. One thing is, she came with that intention because no conversation. She came with the intention maybe come file life and for more afole control meta political wotile. Don't karamundo din political. And we actually match the levels, and then we basically give you the right size of what you want, because he came with a condescending behavior call. I don't know anything about what is going to be said, but let me go and then use all kind of adjectives on this person, probably irritate him, and then he could say something so that the public could say, look at this guy saying this. Our exposure, our education, and of course, what we know in this world has gone beyond somebody just coming and then just throwing a particular jab and thinking they could actually get something out of it. The biggest benefactor to that is, of course, the NPP camp, because the whole point is that if you continuously want to attack another opposition baselessly without facts, and then you want to make everybody believe in that, I'm not that kind of a person. I have passed that stage. Then I'm going to be all they are very clear. But if my brother has any contrary opinion, I want to hear that first. Let me know where the disagreement is, and if I have anything to say to that, I would say to that. But one
Ram,
thing,
go ahead.
I think that would be a better way to have the conversation. What's been said was long. I will not have to repeat that to have another opinion. But let me know what the disagreement is on and what his take is as per what that subject discussion was about.
So, Tom,
Yes.
yesterday, Mal said something to me is a little bit concerning because I know him as an upright person. I know him very well. So, but he claims that he does not have an evidence, all right, of these people's claim. But I wanted to ask this because how can you have an evidence when there is no established procedure to investigate and bring out those evidence? Listening to Asa, what Asa said, there were so many claims that Esa made. Among them was that there was some inducement, some malpractices here and there, and there was also a claim of a vice president position. Now, when you look at Unite, um, their presser was focusing on one point, which was Asa's claim of the vice presidency. So what I was saying is that Malmo also was focusing more on the chairman rather than focusing on the maladministration and also the malpractices that we wanted to know. You know, we all wanted a free and fair election, even at the national level. But it has to start, we need to scrutinize ourselves first. Now, if there is a claim, I'm not a lawyer, but if there is a claim that there were some malpractices and there were some inducements, and the people at the helm of the affair said, okay, let's suspend this and investigate that first. Now, for the public to have evidence, the evidence that Malmo is claiming, for him to have, there should be an established procedure to investigate and bring out those evidence. Now, if ESA and the team accuse these people of doing that, the Unite, now ESA and the team are the one that should bring the evidence out. But do you think ESA and the team also will bring out the evidence like that? Because they wanted it to be in a form of a procedure whereby an investigation like these people claim, then they will bring out the evidence, and those evidence will support their accusations. And those evidence is what we are going to use at the public domain to discuss these matters. So for Malmo to have evidence, there should be an established procedure, and that established procedure is what the chairman, the vice chairman, and the former vice president, Her Excellency Fatmata Jallo Tambajang, all claim that we need to put a hold to this and then quickly investigate this claim before we proceed with the election. And I don't think there is something wrong with that. So I wanted to ask Malmo, which evidence is he talking about? How did he want to get those evidence? That's my question first, so that we can get into the discussion.
I thank you very much. I have listened to what you've said, and a couple of things I've just jotted down. You talked about evidence, you talked about investigation, you talked about vice president claim, you talked about the chairperson, you talked about maladministration, you talked about the claim, that I claim they do not have the evidence, and you talked about procedure. Now, I would start with, the chairman. Why was I so focused on the chairman? When you talk about procedure, who are you talking about? When you talk about maladministration, who is administering it? Before I get to the whole matter of, okay, did they do this? Did they not do this? But who is administering that you already call maladministration? Who is actually, you talked about procedure, who should actually establish those procedures? A chairperson who is a fraudulent person with a PTC and aggrandizing himself as a professor. That in itself, in my belief, has totally, made me believe that process, I needed to just put it this way and throw it in the garbage. Because no prominent person or no conscious person will believe in a process that is led by a fraudulent person. That is one thing. Now, you talked about ESA's claim and the evidence. Now, I understand that you are a very, very educated person, both religiously and, of course, Western education. But even in your medical field, if you're basically trying to know what problem this particular person has, you have to do a prognosis to know. And then Nali Obelong, the doctors have to examine and do all of that. ESA said that there are, basically, now, before you actually make a claim, you must have your own evidence with you. You don't just make a claim and then start investigating. So on what basis are you making the claim? Your claim is made out of evidence, that you have credible evidence to make a claim that this person did this, and then you have those evidence. Did ESA submit, when you talk about procedure, did ESA submit an official petition to this body? No. He came on the day of the election, looked within the room and claimed that he did not recognize the faces. Probably they are not going to vote for him. And then he said, no, I am withdrawing from this thing, and went down and get a press statement and went. Is that procedure for you? If I make a claim that, Ibrahim did something wrong, it is my responsibility to provide evidence that indeed he did it. Why should that be investigated? Because one thing is, to investigate is to establish if what he claimed and actually put as his evidence is true or not. What ESA needed to do was to make sure that he write an official petition and then put all his evidence into it and give it to the body for the body to examine and verify that this is indeed true.
But did he do that? No. So what are you talking about when you talk about procedure? Who has flawed procedure here? Again, simply and squarely because UDP call metaphor, UDP call meaningful for including Yankuba Dab. Where's the evidence he provided? We cannot sit and be claiming and of course, accusing people of things that we cannot justify. If you tell me that Talib Molla Kanaya or Molla Narante Akonyo Kunkata Talib Yala Naka business or Ketanakandukole, it then becomes incumbent upon you to provide the names of those businesses that came to you and claim that, of course, it only Talib ka business or Kewalanyamaki Dukule. But we cannot outrightly just be alleging people without evidence. Now, Moro, a couple of things Esa said, and if we have to interrogate that, and you as a nurse practitioner should basically know this better. Now, if you tell me, not a new room or conole, but the people may suit it is so bit maybe unite level furnish to all these movements. Imam Momi suit ba phone unite la ding then it all suited. Now you come to the room for carte faka fight on recognition lala. Nimma kidim nya suite drong what amanta carte file for 2021 mom be carte fa UDP for senda be wol nya suite. Mom be carte fa NPP for baro wol suite. Carte book a fight on the basis of facial familiarity. Aka fight munela, if you have the voters card and it is authentic, and of course the IEC agents will verify that and you will vote. It's not on facial recognition. In that room, what will determine who can vote is, are there delegates from the respective bodies? Yes. Are they brought here by the movements that actually are part of this discussion? Yes. You don't need to recognize their face. And another thing is, if you say there are inducements, then it becomes on you to tell us who was induced, because in your petition, you don't just write an empty petition. Your petition should be guided and, of course, accompanied by what? Evidence. So it is on ESA to provide those evidence to the body. But again, why was I so focused on the chairperson? Who will ESA provide those evidence to? A person who in the process resigned? You were giving a responsibility to put a coalition together. There is a little hulabalo between the two parties that are majorly in there. Before they submit their petitions or anything to you to examine that, you resign, and then you went to a TV to tell us that we are going to investigate. What are you going to investigate after resigning? Another patient of Fena, he resigned. Examine. How would you examine a patient when you have already resigned from the hospital? I support the opposition in totality, including even the UDP. I have nothing against the UDP. But the way you people want to take this, at some point, it will be us versus us, and then and that is only going to be to the pleasure of Yusuf and his people. Because one thing I know is, if you tell me that Talib was trying to induce those people, tell me how Barrow came to power in 2016. GPDP. Let me come.
Yes, Ibrahim. Yes, I like, because I want both of you converse, so you can ask Malmo a question, or if you can, you can.
I wanted, if you wanted to take this long, probably there are certain.
We'll lose a lot.
Exactly. I wanted to interject. I will lose a lot. So what I wanted to say, Tom, what I wanted to say to Malmo is that first, let's talk about the chairman. I don't want Malmo to focus on the chairman, because the conviction of Minti wala nyindiko. The title of being a professor, to me, is not very relevant here. I saw what Malmo put on Facebook, and the clip that the guy was claiming that he got a PhD. All right. But Tom, let's examine this holistically and also be specific about the guy. Now, when this guy started this process, the procedures he laid down, the documents he drafted, the documents he helped other people to develop. Let's examine those documents, those procedures, to see if those procedures are flawed. This is where the problem, even if he is having a PTC, it doesn't matter. Does he have the competence? Does he have the experience to lead such kind of an institution? For me, that is where the problem should be. Not because for me, what I'm saying is that Malmo is trying to distract us. Okay? He's trying to distract us from talking about the malpractice that these people accuse the Unite. So, and the second thing is that, so that's what I wanted to say about the chairman. Malmo can say this, we can scrutinize about his academic qualification and all those things. But having a PTC, guarantee somebody to lead such kind of an institution? Yes, for me, I believe in that. I believe that the guy can lead such kind of an institution, because we have people that have PTC are leading an institution as credible as the National Assembly. We know the Speaker of the National Assembly also hold a PhD degree, but he has the expertise, he has the experience, regardless of all his past records and everything. He has the expertise, he has the experience to lead that institution. Yes, this guy also, when we examine this guy, he also made a claim that he was part of people that draft the how to call it the constitution of the NUP, and that NUP today unite in coalition with that. But even that NUP, the working document of that NUP now, which is led by a lawyer, did not credibility of that document. All right. Now, what I am saying is that is this guy qualified to lead such kind of an institution or such kind of a procedure? Yes, for me, I believe in that. Why do I say that? Because since the inception of this process, there were no questions about the the whole work, what he has done there, the document, the procedures, the everything that they laid down, right from the foundation and everything. And he was fundamental in the process. He was part and parcel of it. He was leading it. So if he was able to do that, I don't see any reason why he cannot lead that. And there were no questions about that, about his integrity, about his honesty, and that is what matters in all these things. You can have you can be a professor, you can be a doctorate degree holder. We have seen it in
Malmo,
this country.
Malmo, you can
Okay,
comment.
but yeah, let me just complete this point. You can be a professor at the university, you can be whatever it is, but what matters is integrity. If you don't have the integrity, you cannot lead such kind of a process. And he was doing it up to the last minute. When he made a claim, that is when people like Malmo came out and start questioning about his academic qualification and all those things. So I don't believe in that. What I believe is that the work that has been given to him, was he able to do it from the inception up to the last point? And then the second point I wanted to make to Malmo is that about the investigation, claiming that ESA now the honor lies in with ESA to come and provide the evidence. How can ESA provide the evidence when there is no investigation? These people said, let's suspend it and then provide a time so that there can be investigation. Then ESA will have a time to provide his petition. In that petition, there is where you can have evidence. That's where he can submit evidence. For me, that's what I believe. I think maybe Malmo can disagree with me, but Ibrahim, you as a lawyer, I think this is how things are done. All right. Even in the court of law, you don't just come one day and make a claim and then saying that okay, Malmo can here and there. You have to bring out evidence, and to submit those evidence, there are procedures and processes to follow. So ESA and the team also have to wait for that process and the procedure laid down so that they can provide their evidence. And why is Unite in, objecting to that process? That's my concern. Why?
Okay, let me come here, Ibrahim. He talked about integrity. A man came to a room, claim he is a professor, that which we know he is not. What is more fraudulent than that when you talk about integrity? When you're speaking, I listen to you totally. You claim to be what you are not, and then we should give you the right to do whatever. Because the whole point is that when you talk about integrity, integrity includes how you portray yourself. A man came to a particular coalition discussion and told them that he is a professor. The newspapers regard him as a professor. He earns the respect of a professor. He was treated as a professor. He was given a position as a professor. Because when you say you are a professor, people actually use that. Because I did not even pay attention to who this person is, because I don't even know him. I only hear the name Professor Mbalo. And then because of the title professor, I said this is a credible person, because a person with that experience and of course, academic ranking must be somebody who is reliable, dependable, and trustworthy. And when you talk about integrity, if Yusuf comes here and tells us that he is a PhD, and tomorrow we find out that he did not even have a first degree, how would we talk about integrity again? Is that a person of integrity? Is that a person who has the ability to run a body like that? Again, I did not start questioning, and because often I hear this from the UDP people. Why are you questioning it now? Because I only became interested in it now. I only know about it now. I only understood it out of this controversy. Is when a controversial thing came up, and then his activities and his actions speaks to me that, oh, I thought this was a professor. Because in the middle of a hula balo, why would you just resign? That is not what professors do. You know what professors do? They proffer solutions to challenges. Now you go and sit on the TV, on a national television of our country, where everybody, all voters would be listening to. You claim, you know, when I was doing my PhD, when you only stopped at PTC. I don't care if he has PTC or not. The people that you made reference to, Fabakar Tombo, will never tell anybody I'm a professor. Because if he does, then it becomes our responsibility to remove him from our parliament, because that is fraudulent. That is being an imposter. We cannot dispute that. And that is why the profile of this particular person became questionable, because if you claim to be what you are not, then that already tells us that the process is already flawed. How about if that coalition was built and these people form a government, they say, oh, this professor is the person who put the coalition together and they won, and just for us to realize that mana PTC la banyambul. Ntaman PTC doya, but no wala bebula fole bambulu, kana afanyafo. So nyimmu mola timi alon ko ndeko amanke modi monyanta lala minna, because amanke tonya modi killing fulanjango ay banko be deceively, and sabanjango he is an imposter. So therefore he is not a credible person to be trusted, and nobody can refute that. Second,
But Malmo,
you know,
I have a question. Sorry, before you
you
go.
talked about
I
if
have
he
a
is
question.
qualified. Let me finish.
Sorry,
let me finish. When you speak,
let me have a quick question.
Totally.
But Ibrahim, it can only be a question. You cannot do a question and a comment. It can only be a
Yes,
question, and
I
then
just
Malmo
wanted to
has to
ask a
have his
question.
time.
Only a
Yes.
question.
Go ahead.
Okay.
What I wanted to ask is, how did my Malmo know that this guy has only PTC? How do you know that?
Bro, I hold the PhD, and it's very simple to know who does and who does not. Academics goes with publications. Academics go with universities. Which university did he go to? Go to Google Scholar and type his name. Nothing. Zero. Bro, we investigate and we got to know, because one thing is, when Yusuf speaks, like I told Ibrahim, you know, Yusuf is a very level. Look, I am in love with intelligence. When this guy speaks, you can tell that he knows what he's talking about. Somebody else who claimed to be a professor speaks, and I begin to wonder, then that triggers me to find out. It's simple. You take a position, you become a subject of controversy. Then it's important for people to know who is this person. Just for us to realize that munayara fanyina mutu wanyati. Nga lo nyami womanke kukumari. Nga mimfola mutu wanyati bamfola mutu fanyati. If you can refute what I said, I am open to that. What I said, this guy is not a professor. He has no masters. He has no PhD that he claimed on TV. Fanyalom. He only has the name because he was going to Armitage High School, and they actually gave him a name as in, a nickname. And he is now using that nickname professionally to earn respect from our society, to earn position from our society, to even get a lot of respect from our, media houses. I saw Mboy telling him, Professor, you are becoming so academic. And this guy, if I want to go more, you will think that I'm going against him. You know that this guy was teaching in high schools with a PhD, PTC. Where have you seen PTC teaching in high school? He is not only fraudulent to this, coalition body, but even our education sector. So that means that this guy has fraudulently been parading himself as what he is not, teaching, literature in high schools when he had no, specialization. Because PTC, what do you specialize? You teach primary school. How was this person doing all of that? Because Yusuf's government need to investigate this person and find out that which schools would even just allow somebody to be teaching literature without even asking for their documents. That tells you about our education system in the country. I don't want to go to that part because I want to limit myself or keep myself within the parameters of this coalition discussion. So first, the people leading it become a subject of scrutiny when there is controversy. You cannot tell me, you give Yusuf, a managerial, position, and then something happens there. You said, no, we should not look at Yusuf's qualification. What are you telling me? Again, when you talk about procedure and law, Moro, Ibrahim would just be quiet and will not tell you, but what you said is not accurate. What is accurate is that if I make allegations, if I'm actually coming with my brief, I need to put in everything that I claim. And of course, everything that you believe are true. Before Esa would actually make any wild claim, he should have all of his facts right. And those facts right is what he needed to submit to the body. But which body is he going to submit it to when the chairman himself resigned? So who is going to look at it? So that tells you that the chairman deliberately understood that these claims are not probably right. So who are they going to submit it to? Let me validate Esa by equally resigning, and then that will give credibility to what he did. Simply and squarely because he said his movement and Esa Sobeya is actually in partnership. So that is a member of Esa's team.
I I want to bring it.
Malmo,
Yusuf,
Tom.
then I'll be continue.
Yeah, Tom.
But no, there was
Tom,
something
what
I
I
wanted
wanted
to
to
say.
say.
There was something I wanted to say. He caught me. Nkoeko, 2016, Kabirinka Barota. Baro was not more qualified than Halifa Sallah. He was not more qualified than all others. But what did the UDP do? They went to GPDP. They went to GMC to convince and to canvass for votes for them to vote for Baro. If
But that's
Talib went
normal,
to,
Malmo.
no, let me finish, bro. That makes
That
it
is very
easier.
normal. Yeah,
So
yeah.
now Talib going to ESA, that is abnormal.
No,
Right?
that's not
So
abnormal.
what
No.
is the problem? Talib going to
You know what is,
Talib going to
No,
other
Malmo, he
stakeholders,
agrees with
telling
you.
them,
Malmo, he agrees
convincing
with
them
you.
for them to
yeah.
vote for him. Now
Yeah,
Talib
Malmo,
going
I
to
agree
he's
with
no,
you.
let
agreeing
me
with
I
you.
finish.
agree with him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
what I'm
Let
saying
me
is
just finish,
I agree
because
with him,
when you
Tom.
interject,
No,
you're
Malmo,
literally
wait.
stopping my flow.
No, wait. What
Now
I'm
if
saying is
Talib goes,
I
Moro, fonga jam for the ronde, for embula nga jam for the ronde,
okay,
if Talib goes to other partners and tell them to vote for him, that is something else. That is inducement. But when UDP brought in even their own delegates to represent GPDP in that primaries to vote for Barrow, that was very okay. So what sense does it make? Do you want to tell me that the people who came to vote for UDP, the over 300 that voted for Barrow, Halifa Sallah recognized them? No. But was that the basis for the voting? No. Khalifa is one of the most principled and honest people in our political space in this country. He knew that he was more qualified, he was more competent. The UDP leaders were in jail, but he still allowed a UDP person to lead because he believed in the process, and the process was done that way, even though we know that UDP went underground to do all their internal and underground politics, to the point that some party delegates were UDP members. But that is correct. But Talib trying to be president, that is wrong. You see, this tribalism that we keep talking about, who calls people that Sula party here? Myself, somebody told me that I was carried to the Gambia. That is not important. That is why I don't talk tribe, because it's not important to me. Myself, somebody came to my inbox and told me you have to be taken back to Guinea-Bissau. That is where your ancestors come from. You know why he said that? Because I speak Manjago, which I am not even one. But we cannot be castigating other people because of our conviction, our belief, or our political lining. When it is you is correct, when it is somebody else is wrong. Just like the lady said yesterday, you cannot tell me that the IEC is right, but when your chairman and other people won, that is right. But then you use the same IEC data to tell us that we are the biggest opposition party. But we cannot use the same IEC data to say, NPP has over 400,000. So what statistics do you people want to use? When we speak intellectually and consciously to our people, but not out of convenience and what we feel like this is comfortable for us. But what exactly
Ibrahim,
would you do?
Ibrahim,
yeah.
So
I just wanted to
tell me,
Malmo is wait.
tell me what
Malmo,
else
for
that you
this
think.
Ibrahim, let him
conversation to
ask you a
go,
question.
for this
Ibrahim,
conversation,
let him. No, listen. No, I'm going to moderate, guys.
No,
Allow
let
me.
him
Let
go
me
ahead.
moderate.
Let him
Yes.
go ahead.
Okay,
yeah, no, what I'm
Ibrahim,
saying is,
go ahead. You want to say something, Malmo?
I agree with Malmo, where at the point that he said, what is wrong with Talib going to ESA? There's nothing wrong with that. We all do. Usually we all do that. That is part of politics. Well, I'm not very versed in politics, but I've done student politics and other stuff like that. That's normal, right? But what I am saying is, what is inconvenience in all that is that when ESA came out and said, Talib brothers said they have been investing in Talib for almost the past 3 years.
Yes.
That is where the inconvenience lies, because the past 3 years, Unite was not born. The past 3 years, Talib was in another camp. And when we came out and said that, Talib was forming a camp within a camp, people came and said that's not true. With all this investment, I heard you said that yesterday, what is wrong with Talib doing an investment? There is nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
Talib is young, ambitious, he wanted to become something, that is fine. Every young and ambitious person wants to become something. And nobody is going to take that from Talib. But what is wrong, morally, ethically, is that you cannot be in a group and forming another group within that group. That is what is wrong.
But have you?
And when
But
we
the
made that
progressive, we
claim,
didn't.
when we,
I don't have any
yeah,
horse in this race, so let me just say that. But have you heard of progressives in the Democratic Party that look like to be a fan of the
allow him
Democratic
to
Party. So
finish,
much
man.
so
Allow him to
that
finish.
people in the Democratic Party today, let me just make a quick point. Yusuf and I were mostly just enjoying the conversation, but I'll bring Yusuf in. But I just want to make a quick point that here in the United States, the Democratic Party, for example, they have a faction called the Progressives, the Socialists. They're almost condemned by members of their party themselves because ideologically, even though their bottom line is like a Democratic Party, but they have a new form. They want to evolve the party because at their foundation, what used to be a Democratic Party is not appealing to people. So the Mamdanis, the Abdul Saids, and the AOCs, they're coming, and AOC is projected to be even a presidential candidate for the upcoming elections. And to make the point that I don't think it's a problem to be in a party and try to have your own little camp to try to project yourself and your ambition and to follow your ambition within that particular
That's not
party.
even what existed. But let him finish. That's
No,
not
no,
what
I'm just
existed. Let him finish.
so even if that's what exists, I just want to make the case to him that I don't personally think that in itself is a problem. I do think what is a problem is if you use dubious means or money to try to buy people to support your ambition. I think that is wrong. So, but that's my only point of difference
So,
with you. But
you know what is the
Yusuf,
problem?
you don't have us
Yes.
in this race. Yes.
Yeah, I know. You know what
Go
is
ahead.
the
So,
problem?
Umar,
Yala memo problem with the Tom. Uh, the biggest problem in that is that we are not saying it's not. I'm saying clearly that it's not a problem for Talib to be ambitious. All right, that's not a problem because we gave him the platform to be ambitious. UDP gave him that platform to be ambitious. We believed in him when no one believed in him. We told him that, you know what, we are going to support you and we will be there for you. And that's what we did until he believed in himself. The results started coming. Okay? And he's not going to be bad in that. But remember, Talib was the chairman of the organizing and the campaign and all that stuff like that. So Talib was the one who should tell us, who should tell Usainu Dawa, if you go to Burfu, this is what you have to say. If you go to Kian Tankular, this is what you have to avoid. This is what you have to do. So if Talib, in a sense, is having a camp within UDP that did not want to support the agenda of Usainu Dabo, but want to sell the agenda of Talib Bensouda, until at a point that they are doing an investment to ensure that Talib become the presidential candidate. Where is the level playing field that we are talking about? There are a lot of ambitious. Myself, I don't join United Democratic Party because I believe that I have to support somebody to become like. I also am an ambitious person. I believe in the ideology of United Democratic Party. I believe that I can progress within that United Democratic Party. But what is not fair is that when you are given a responsibility and you took a responsibility, quite any malmoka singing fonko to nyama malmoka kela co-hosti. All right. Now the sense of responsibility is that Malmo accepted to join you so that you advance this platform. Now Malmo has a responsibility because he accepted to be your co-host. Talib has accepted a responsibility to serve United Democratic Party. And in that role, we don't expect anything less from Talib. What we expect from Talib is to sell the agenda of United Democratic Party to Gambians. And that's what he failed to do. And that's where the inconvenience comes now. Because when SR came and said this, nobody is refuting that part. The investment was not done for United Democratic Party, but the investment was done for Talib Ahmed Bensouda. This is where
So
my problem lies.
it's your
Okay,
argument.
okay,
It
okay.
is your argument
Ibrahim,
that
Yes.
yes.
let me react to
Okay.
that. Let me react
But
to that.
Omar, as you
First,
react, can you also react to, has it always been the case that even while Talib was national organizing secretary, or
no.
even, let's listen, even when he was elected mayor for the first time, it has always been eventually are you aware of that understanding from Talib or even Unite members that all this time it was never about UDP, it's always been about Unite, even when we never had any idea that Unite was going to happen?
No. That is not the argument, Tom. That is not the argument, and that's not what I said. All right.
I'm not saying that's what you
I
said. I'm
said,
asking you.
Can I
yeah,
react to what you
I
said?
also wanted to make that point. I also want to
Okay.
make that point. That has never been the argument from the United Democratic Party camp. Okay. What we all know the first time of Talib Ahmed Bensouda, he came through the platform of the United Democratic Party. But the same Talib Ahmed Bensouda who said in his second term He was not elected based on United Democratic, but he was elected based on the coalition. Which coalition? That's where, that is what, Talib Bensouda was not our organizing secretary and the head of the campaign and organizing secretary in his first term. He only became that in his second term. That's where I am saying that. That's where the inconvenience for United people to accept that when Talib was in the United Democratic Party, having a responsibility to advance the agenda of United Democratic Party, he undermined the United Democratic Party for his own personal interest. And you cannot receive that because
That's a
the
fair
claim in
argument.
Esa's house, yeah, that's my argument.
Okay, Malmo, go
All right.
ahead.
And that's where I have a problem.
Now, because what you
Now you
said
can
is
come, Mano.
you've transitioned the conversation to what Esa said to UDP, and you're telling me, oh, he was within UDP and making an investment. You know what investment is? Yusuf Tungara right now is making a political investment in the NPP. That does not mean that he's undermining Barrow. You know why? He's educating himself, positioning himself. He's actually climbing through the ranks of the political party. Someday, this guy can become president. Would you tell me that if I say Yusuf is investing in his political career, would you say that that is wrong to do because he's within the NPP? Talib was within the UDP, yes. UDP actually made him mayor, yes. But of course, when he talk about investment, he is actually projecting himself and putting in resources both in that party, and until when he left the party, he equally made investments to position himself to become a presidential candidate. What is so wrong about that? You told us that Talib should be the one to tell Dabo what to say. Talib is probably a nobody. But he was your campaign manager, then he was good. But he left your party, then he's bad. Again, the whole point becomes that when he was in the UDP, would you want to tell me that a mayor has not done any political investment on himself to be a mayor? He did not also make any political investment in himself to position himself in certain key positions in the UDP? All those things are investment, because even convincing people to get to certain, climbing the ladder is an investment in yourself. But your understanding of investment in this regard is becoming very narrow to think that, oh, he is in there putting in stuff and all of that just for himself. No, he is climbing through the political, party ranks. That in itself is actually an investment. And that is important to mention. You know why that was mentioned to Esa? Talib has been in politics before Esa. That is the truth. He has been in politics before Esa. That means he has invested in politics, before Esa, because he was a mayor since 17 or 18? I don't know. What was Esa doing at that time? He was not into politics. While he was in the UDP, he was already in politics and investing in his politics. That does not mean that he was undermining the UDP. And again, in 2021, what you said Talib failed to do, what did he fail to do? Talib supported, his political party through the thick and thin. Who will dispute that in this country? Of course, he did fail to deliver because he could not make Dabo president. I would consider that a failure. That's true. But his investment in himself cannot be narrowed to the fact that, oh, he was within the UDP and just investing in himself just so that he can be something. You want to tell me that Yankuba Dabo is not investing in his political career? You want to tell me that Irohi Mariklo is not investing in her political career? You want to tell me Landing Sane is not investing in their political career? You want to tell me Malmo, who just joined politics, is not investing in his political career? Who told you that I don't want to replace Talib Ahmed Bensouda at the head of Unite? Tomorrow I can claim that I have been investing my time and my resources into the politics of Unite, so that someday, I can climb the ranks and of course get to the top. Do I want to tell you that I want to be just, a backbencher? No. And that does not in any way mean that I am undermining the leadership of Unite. What is so wrong for somebody to say, and then again, investment again. When you go to bargain, if I want to come and bargain something with Esa would say, oh, but I run for the 2021 election and you did not. And Talib could claim that, but also I want you to leave this position for me. Why? Because we have made a lot of investment. Talib has a political party, registered political party. Remember, APP is a party of Gumbo Ture, but Isobeya is a movement. He has paid millions to the IEC to get his party registered. He has spent millions to actually get regional offices, just like your party did. He has spent millions to buy motorbikes and vehicles. That is an investment. And in terms of preparedness for the elections in 2026, he's probably more prepared and ready than Esa. That is the angle of discussion when it comes to investment. Tell me how much investment that you have seen from APP Sobea in terms of regional offices, motor vehicles, and the level of preparedness going into the 2026 elections. The level of preparedness right now, if we are going to gauge, is primarily the NPP and the Unite. because we have seen
Yes,
them in
Malmo. Yes,
and resources.
Malmo.
So
No,
what
no,
is
Ibrahim,
what
Mal,
was
Ibrahim,
Malmo.
no, Ibrahim, no.
and then
Listen,
you want to contact
I need
while
to
he
bring
was in the
Yunus.
UDP,
No,
he was
Yusuf,
undermining the UDP. Why
guys,
was he undermining the
guys,
UDP?
Professor Dr.
Right?
Malmo, let me
But
bring Yusuf
let
real
me
quick.
bring one point here. You see, yalo nyone momenta sonna wala jang. We
So,
remember while your
Tom,
people were in government.
No,
Listen to me.
Malmo should allow me to
no, both
respond.
of
Let
you,
me finish. Okay,
gentlemen,
let me conclude on this point. Let me conclude on this
gentlemen,
point.
no,
Tom.
gentlemen.
Okay.
Iko Yusuf be sign come back at the camera. He needs to speak. Yusuf, you don't have UDP, but you are on the other side of the. What do you see? Itala, do you have any opinions you want to share? What are your
Um,
observations in terms of what you're hearing?
I'm actually enjoying the show. I'm actually enjoying the show.
It's okay if you don't have
Nyima
anything
buka
to
kuken no
have to
jele.
say too.
So ndelu what I think for me I think UMC and UDP they have been following me. But what happened is these people they were never ready for coalition. Never. None of them were ready for coalition. Ibeta da jele mbon fananga da yole ngaje jube membije. Maybe ndele bekala candidate. UDP didn't go there to agree with anybody because Beribe Taka ya follow ko itelu party led. And number two, it was very clear UDP ko you send double candidate and Momo left the Bekafulala. So they are not supposed to even go there in the first place. UMC, they are very clear. Ko. And UMC have been very honest with SRFAT. If at all, that's what they told him. How can you say that they don't invest? Those trucks, those vehicles, where do they come from? Why would he register his party? Why would he leave UDP if he didn't want to contest election? Why would he have regional offices? Campaign manager instead of ask Congress? Naka, Bufason. You are telling me that he's not investment. Obviously, I mean, the guy have said what is already been done. To me, it's not okay, Ezafal. Lala since after 2020 election. Where did Ezafal call for a rally? One rally. I keep
Them they
asking people.
football see,
You
them
know,
they
people
football see, them they organize football games
uh,
see.
the-
Bad
even the
one.
other day, I meet him in one program with 3 people. I meet him with one program with 3 people. You want to be president? Ngai dem si tele di ngabu ngabu fufu no.
Leave
Look,
Isaiah alone.
Ezra should stop the hypocrisy. The Fabuga man, I don't support Talib. Do you get? While Talib was man enough to stay in that hole, anybody in that hole want to be candidate. If Talib can maneuver to be a candidate, so be it. Where is the proof that the agenda needs? It's a false. Again, you cannot have go your way. Ngade would defend because he knows that he cannot get UDP because Yankuba Dabo have said that they cannot vote Isafal because what he's doing. Now, where is he going? Maybe how can I have UDP? How can I be in a good book of some certain people? Look, let's just stop this hypocrisy in this country. Anybody in a hand. Politics, we all want to win election. As I felt new, man, I was even surprised, honestly, to, to realize that the chairman was part of SFR's group. Lord, that's my bet. When I listen to Nene, we don't know where we are in this country.
Um,
So, so honestly,
bro,
these people were
This man is
fraudsters.
very funny,
Giving
boy.
that coalition, they were fraudsters that were there. All of them were fraudsters. Hassan Martin is Taliban to the Mumla they support. So why are these people? They were just cheating. They were just trying to knock people. Ayang's vice president, ko hamantene, they announced the contest. Suba because he knows he cannot get 10,000 to fill her form. Mune is an elder state woman, and the yaga fee, the yaga negotiate. They should allow that person. He leave that room. See when the Uzendabo's house and that picture of Uzendabo and share in those Uzendabo. Look, they want to put credibility. They want to discredit the coalition, which they have succeeded in doing it. But guess what? It does not help anybody. You know, we all need to be able to build that relationship. We can disagree on ideas, in policies and programs. But so dem acto aksa morom nit si nek lum la wax fofu nonu warlo jek jek ngay gëna sibir lu talib bensul ak Aziz Ben luñ ko wax Issa Fall ye même fay bu ngo kono je that was confidential discussion they had with him, and every political leader have this kind of people with people that you want to work with. So you cannot go with a one spin rek because you want to have your way. One spin, you blow everything out. Taliban Mune, yes, Taliban have invested for 3 years. Taliban, what it was that was not necessary from SRFAL. It was not necessary at all. So he has completely broken down with his relationship with Talib, even if they become together as a family, they will always going to be careful on each other. That is the truth. So UDP will always take this as opportunity for them, to castigate Talib. Even Mansa, I will take it as opportunity. Man, I have already known Talib always want to contest way back 2022. What I didn't know and what was not clear to me is how would Talib leave UDP. But I do know for sure, eventually, Talib, the kind of person he is, do not head UDP. Depuis 2022 xam loolu man after election I was privileged to meet Lord Mayor. So I know kii do hide fii. They will either drag him out or he will pack his bag and leave. And in any case, they have dragged him out. And I
Please,
mean,
you're not
kudos to
serious.
him. He has formed himself. He has formed a very strong movement. At least he has created a platform like my Kodo, Malmo. Malmo was just there. Now he's all out for Gambia. He has a platform. And this is what we want. Everybody, we all need to be involved. So when we are coming together, we come together based on our ideas and principles and what is on table. And this time around, what is on table is Barrow. So they just have to campaign for him, all of them. And that's what they are doing. I thank them for that.
Hey, Yunus, I'm a
So
big
Tom,
fan of you.
let me
I
quickly
just want to
react
put that
to
out here.
what
Yes, but let's
Manmo
move.
said.
Let's move on to Malmo. Yes, go ahead,
Ah,
Ibrahim. But please,
Yeah,
can I just say
let
that
me
we don't
let me
have a
just
lot of
quickly.
time. Let me, if you have to go and make like 10 minutes rebuttal, just address the issue and then we move on. Malmo can also react. That way, we're not spending because we don't have a whole day. All of us need to go. We have other things to
You
do.
you
So
you
let's
you
at least two
you
minutes
know that
responses.
it's Malmo. You know that it's Malmo who takes all that time to respond to me and also make certain points which you will never give me an opportunity to come back to him. So what
No,
I'm
don't
we
say
saying
I
need
to
don't
to
give you
you,
pray. It's
opportunity, my
time to
brother.
pray
Please
here.
don't say that. I'm trying to be fair. Okay, and
okay, no
Yusuf
problem.
needs to go
So
too. I don't know why. Okay.
what I am saying to Malmo is that going back to a few things that we have not addressed before the end of this conversation,
Mhm.
it's about the allegations. For me, I'm very much concerned about the allegations that ESA and the team brought forward. That allegation need to be investigated. Is it going to be investigated? Is the question. That's why Malmo now question the integrity of the chairperson of that committee. But remember, the chairperson was not the only person in that committee, the CMC. And the chairperson did not say that I am going to investigate this. He said we should investigate this. And he didn't say how the investigation is going to be conducted. So these are all question marks. Until and unless Unite consent to that investigation as per the request of the ESA and the team, then we are going to the evidence that Malmo is asking, then we, the ESA and the team will have an opportunity to submit that evidence. So we cannot discredit this. An accusation and allegation need to be investigated. And until and unless Unite accept, you understand, and consent to that, rather than forcing an election of just a movement, few people, it's only one party in that. So why do you need to hesitate for you to have an election when you know that there is a big allegation against you? If I'm a Unite, they should clean themselves first
I
before
want to
they
ask
go
you
ahead.
a question.
Yes.
For me, I don't think that is about UNAT.
No,
It's
wait.
about the committee. Committee Bobu
Tungara,
Nono. Ko,
Tungara, let
if
me,
No.
let
what
me even
what
ask
Malmo
you. Let
said
me
is
ask you
true,
one question. Let
that
me ask
Yeah.
you one
Okay.
question.
Ask.
On the day, if we are December 5th today, and Barrow or probably one of the parties came and say, NPP was inducing people, so the election must not be held today. We have to go and investigate. Is that what is going to happen?
No, that is not what is going to happen.
So why would it happen in this case that you come to an
Because these
election group?
two
You
scenarios
come to
are
an
totally
election
different.
group.
You cannot
No,
compare
listen,
these
listen.
two.
is
You
it
come
No,
to
it's
an
is
not.
it is
election.
it
Listen, let me just ask you this.
moderator?
You come to an election
You know
group.
what UDP want to
You
do?
did not
You
write.
know
You
what
did not
UDP want
write
to do?
any petition. You just verbally
Yes,
said that
Yusuf, make a quick
we
comment.
think we are going to
Yes,
wait.
quickly. Man, I'm not trying to push away accountability here, but this is UDP's game plan going to the elections. They are hell bent in discrediting any process that produce anybody not UDP. They used to do it only election. Now they are trying to start it with pushing this kind of internal process within this group now. When elections start coming, the very day of elections, they will start crying foul. Now, there's a this here, there's this here, it should be investigated, and they will start using this as a reference point. Well, UDP never investigate anything. Taliban
You know,
to become a candidate of UDP. It was fraudulent to become a candidate because the delegate that brought Taliban was not original delegate. We don't want to go back to all those things. UDP never investigated. Taliban and other people were
Yusuf, to be
contested in
fair,
that primary in
to
2018.
be fair,
Yusuf,
you see how problems with voter registration right now, which is UD
no,
bringing
Tom,
that to
let me
our knowledge.
respond to that. Let me
No,
respond to that.
no,
Look,
let's give back to Malmo.
yeah,
Malmo needs to claim his time.
I'm still
Yes,
asking this guy a question. You said
yes.
ESA asked for investigation. Can you tell me where ESA asked for investigation?
No, I didn't say ESA asked for an investigation.
You
I
said
said
what? You
ESA
said
and
what
the team.
was asking is for them to
I
investigate.
said,
To investigate what?
no, I said, what I said was, probably you didn't hear me. What I said was, I said ESA and the team made an allegation. The CMC committee asked for an investigation. Unite, deny, or objecting to that investigation. That's what I said. Is
But
this not the case?
That did not
That's
happen.
what happened.
What you're
ESA and
saying
the
is
team made an allegation. CMC, the committee said that, you know what, these allegations, before we go ahead, we need to thoroughly investigate this. So let's suspend the election and investigate this before we go into election. Is this not the case?
Did you see a communique from the CMC claiming what you are saying now?
But the CMC chairman said that.
The resigned chairman on that day said that who is
No,
from
but
SSC. Now listen to
that
me.
was the reason.
Let me ask
That
you
was
this.
his reason for resignation.
What was his reason for resignation? Because he's part of a team that came and felt that they cannot win the elections, and the only thing they can do is to say we are walking out, and also ask the chairman to resign. And then the chairman left. The chairman, now tell me, does the chairman have the sole authority to tell the entire body and the movements who were all there, the delegates, that this election is not going to go ahead? Who should take that decision?
The chairman did not have that authority.
Exactly.
That's why he refused himself. Because he said,
did the chairman receive any formal document to claim that we are petitioning this body and we are expecting this election to be suspended? Or what? What exactly did the chairman receive?
The chairman said, what the chairman said at QTV is, and also at
If you say
iAfrica.
QTV, that is where he claimed to have a PhD. That means I completely disregard anything and everything this man said on QTV.
No, Malmo, wait. You asked a question. I want to give you the. I want to respond.
Yep. Ibrahim,
Now,
go ahead.
allow me to respond. What I said is, I think you didn't hear me clearly, so I want to clarify myself. What I said was, ESA and the team made an allegation. The CMC committee, based on the chairman and the former vice president, said that there should be an investigation. How is that investigation going to be conducted? Who should be in the panel, and whatever is going to be, then that's a question mark. But then Unite and the team objecting to that investigation, the chairman said clearly on TV that he was never going to be associated with something that has already been tainted. You understand? Now what he is asking and the other members is that let's suspend this election and investigate this accusation before we proceed. Now Unite and the team are objecting to this. This is where my point of contention lies. This is where my problem is, Tom. Why is that there cannot be an investigation? That's my point.
Now, let me react to that.
Ibrahim, before Malmo come, can I say something? Let me say something.
Very quickly, yes.
Has withdrawn. So I will leave to Malmo, not to because our party is not. Our parties are not there. UDV has withdrawn. Somebody else matter. This said clearly. So this is what the lawyers will call medicine interloper. We have no business in this.
Let me quickly
unless if you want to
respond to
continue fueling it.
No, Malmo needs to come on. I can respond. I think he
No,
had a
I will
question.
give
Even from me.
I will give an opportunity to Malmo. But Tom, I want to respond to Yusufa.
No, let me just.
Why he said that I don't have a business in this. When I was coming to this platform, I didn't come to this platform to have this conversation with Malmo because UDP, because Unite. I wanted us to have this discussion as Gambians. I wanted us to look at this holistically. Yes, it's important, and also examine it. As young people, we need to discuss these issues. Malmo said when this issue came up, that's when he started having interest on it. When Malmo started speaking about it, that's when I also started having interest on it. Now it's very fair for me and Malmo to share a platform and Malmo to clear my doubt and also Malmo also to consolidate his points why he said A or B because I was asking him
True.
questions. So I have a business, you have a business, Ibrahim has a business. That's why Ibrahim is giving us platform to discuss this. You understand? So that Gambians also can have their say. So you see, we cannot take this matter as if an issue comes from NPP, it should be only dealt with MPP people. No, this
Simply
is
partisan,
this
yeah.
is about Gambia. If that coalition emerge out of that and happens to be the government, is going to represent not represent the UDP, not representing Malmo as United, but as Gambians. So this is why we all have interest in this, and we are not discussing this because of party lines. No, I don't see it that way.
Can I react now?
Yes, Mr.
Yes, so
Mr.
yes.
You are
Mr.
interested
Sambu,
in
Dr. Sambu.
you are interested in it because you are UDP and everything that discredits Unite is what interests you. I will tell
No,
that
no, no,
straight
Malmo. No,
and
no,
I don't
no,
do
no, no, no,
how
no,
much
no. Don't
Yeah,
say that.
you listen.
here.
No, I
Second,
don't think that's the
no,
case. But
No,
I'm
that's not
saying
the
this
case.
in a
I
way
am entitled to my opinion.
to
Can I
validate.
proceed? Because if
No,
you
to
all want to
Mal,
Yes,
break
doctor.
me,
Mal,
I'm
don't
not
be
going to
fair.
do it.
Don't be unfair to me. Mal, you are unfair to me. That's not the case.
Moro, ika minister fengaridle. Mbenga tubabu karang kele. Mol nyama majang. We know basically where it is coming from. You people can't dolan nyumuna dekal funyu dekut. Why the fact now becomes that you said, you know, the vice president said this and that. The same vice president left that coalition room and went to take photos with Dabo. She did not stop there. She flew to another country to meet Macky Sall to talk about how to join NPP. Lunyu hambarina, nyundu dof. But let me bring you into context. You said if this coalition was to win, it is going to represent the entire Gambia. That was led by a fraudster that you don't want me to say he's a fraudster. You also asked, you don't even know who was going to investigate the matter. That is why I said it was not appropriate for the chairman to resign at that time, because when a controversy came, it becomes his responsibility to investigate it. So why do you resign when you have a bigger task to actually take care of? It was his responsibility to stay, to make sure that the right thing is done. But tell me factually, between you and yourself, if you know that there are inducements happening all the way, why will you wait until you come to the room and then you don't recognize some people? Is when you raise it and you want that election to be suspended when everybody came there to actually vote. And by Nahantebi. But even whereas that election went ahead and you said you quit or you are not part of it, if you still believe that you have something need to be investigated, the chairman should not have resigned. He should have stayed and the committee would actually go and investigate it impartially. But the chairman already took sides. You know, and all that he was saying on TV is that dega na fogna yakarna I duli kesela. Because you cannot go and say it on TV and say, I heard they want to even bribe Martin. I heard they want to do this. I heard this. This is how a chairman, a professor will be talking to the public. And you want dega. Nimbite na reka vonde ko ngamwele dega na nkoma ninkolo ko kumo fanyala ba koma. Ngamwele du dega. But me moto nya wala nyinte ko. It should be investigated. But then be fengo investigate la ngamne ka fenna landi nya ko be na mi investigate la fonde. Nini yamin fo ko e molle induce. But nito ko e molle induce ngamira it is on you to write formally to petition those people and say ye karning induce. These are the evidences we have, and then the body will now start to investigate what you submitted to them, the facts around that. But if you did not submit anything, you come to the room on the day of the election and you said, until we are going to quit this process because we heard that there are issues of inducement, and also we don't recognize some people in this room. That is what you want to tell me that Unite is objecting to. Unite is not objecting to any investigation. What Unite is asking for is provide evidence of anybody being bribed. This is what you, like me personally, would want to know with evidential proofs through an investigation to know who actually was bribed. That is why I am against the chairman resigning, because when he leaves, he negates his responsibilities. Then you leave an open room where everybody is now, to their opinion to make their judgment. When you should be there to make sure you take care of that situation. So when the chairman had stayed, he was going to investigate with his team to bring out some factual evidence to what exactly was claimed. If it is true that Unite had actually, bribed people, it will come out. But if you resign, who is going to bring that out? I'm not even here to say that, okay, United but in terms of standard operational procedures, you cannot wait until the day of the election. You come to the election room. When you know that there are issues of inducement, you should have written to the body to petition and put right in every of your evidence ko karning yol control yel ko nyinni keta. At this time we have this audio evidence, we have this video evidence, we have this, and then here are everything attached, and the body will look at it and say, we have received a formal petition. On the basis of this formal petition, we want to suspend the process that is going to happen 2 days or in a daytime, and we are going to look at this petition. Should I come to the hospital and say, oh, Kitim is a bad nurse, and they tell you, Kitim, you know what, today you are not going to work here. This is how we work. And you talked about procedure, you talked about process, you talked about administration. This is how you administer? That I can come to a room where I'm expected to just be here to vote, and one of the parties came and said, I don't recognize people in the room. Kitim, tell me, is it facial recognition that determines who should vote? Nice. Kitim, tell me, you want to tell me that all those movements there are just easily to be bought? Why did you form? Why are you part of a process of people who can easily be bought? Like we said, they are going to represent the whole Gambia. Then orang naranke so ninga di wala yara baro kan na audito chikala fayjana. Wala ben naranke so chikala le nakabori. Just like the person who is in charge of our vault at the central bank, ikani million wala mutan na border. Yeah. So Alenga, no matter how you dislike a particular political party, let's be fair to people, let's be fair to process, and let's ensure that there is that standard operational procedures in everything we do. Okay, you believe in ESA's allegations, but how is ESA going to substantiate his allegation? By officially petitioning the body, so that of course they cannot also just see ESA's petition and say it's true. No, then they have to investigate it. But ESA have to first submit a petition with his evidence, and those evidence will be examined to be validated or to be trusted out. This is how processes work. But you said ESA made an allegation, then they should investigate. Ninta could be, Kitimu Musolti, and somebody should investigate that. No! I should be able to write to a body because these bodies have standard operational procedures. And when we talk about the chairman, it's not because we dislike him or we have something against him. Moro, hani adite labi, yo manya sifake, we will look at how conscious you are. Because more conscious you know manya sifake. That somebody comes and says, and then you go and sit on TV. As the chairman, you should be the coolest head. You should deal with all parties responsibly and respectfully. You don't even go and say, No, he said, a petition was submitted to us, and we are investigating the matter, and we will actually conclude on it. But so far, we are distancing ourselves with whatever had happened there. But I am still remaining as the chairman to make sure the right thing is done. This is what a professional does. But in reality, that person was brought by SR's team, and then you want to tell me that is an impartial person.
Ibrahim Bafulako, Malmo, you keep going non-stop. But okay, this is the last bit. I want to give each of us an opportunity to say our last things. We want to make sure we leave here at this this second hour, like live for 1 hour 57 minutes. It's been a while. Begin with you to do your final. Certainly, we're not going to agree, but all of us can certainly agree that this is being beneficial, and we're able to listen to each other and debate and argue. Even Yusuf Mimbajabim Batandila, but he's been absolutely brilliant, and your coming here has been nothing but great. So hopefully we're able to have a lot more here.
Yusuf fela bijela London in kitim le tolbe seo bonne moro alanga na nyoka nga Gambia bonne nga jusu waro bulaje nimam Gambia bonne nyimolo
anytime nimam modianda he always said this that oppositions, like whenever opposition have this, but for me, I have a different view. We should dialogue, we should discuss when issues like this come up, regardless of where we belong to. We are not looking at it from the lenses of Malmo said I cannot suffer all here and there. That's my personal opinion. But when we meet here, we're discussing these issues. The fact is what we are discussing. So what I am saying is what I will not agree with Malmo is that the standard procedure that he spoke about. Now, what I am saying is that we are all saying the same thing. But one point that we will never agree, I will never agree to Malmo on that. What I mean to call, ESA and the team should be given time to prepare their petition. It does not happen like that. ESA and the team made an accusation to the committee. Okay, this is the suspicion. This is what we are saying. Now it's based on the committee to give ESA the go-ahead and the time to prepare their petition and come and submit the formal petition. In that formal petition, that's where you put the evidence. So what Malmo is saying, it does not work like that. You don't come at first, even at court. If you want to represent somebody, you send a notice to the court that, okay, we disagree with this, and then I am going to represent this individual. The court gives go ahead for you to submit your petition.
So
And
can
in
I
this
just
petition,
quickly,
that's where you put
can
up.
I just quickly
Is
say,
that how
so
it works in court?
yes, that's what I just want to say. I think the court, using the court as an example, that's why I didn't react to it in the beginning, because it's flawed to begin with. Let me just
Yes.
make a
Boy,
quick point,
Tonya
very
gonna
quick
go
one,
okay,
Okay.
bro. Tonya go
very
okay,
No,
very
Tonya
quick
no.
one.
Gaza.
What I want to
No.
say
Tonya
is
fly
that
why?
is
Using
that
My
the
Canada
point.
time
works
No,
I
in
no,
court.
no, man.
no listen. I
Okay.
think the problem
Okay, Tom, go.
is the foundation for that entire coalition 2026, how it is built, the framework, like Malmo said,
It's
is
all
problematic to begin with.
right.
Because
I accept
ordinarily
that.
you would let me just say that they should have anticipated a situation like this and put a process in place such that if somebody like Esa who feels aggrieved or unfairly treated or maligned in terms of the outcome of the process, there is an alternative for us to suspend temporarily to understand the outcome of elections before we get into elections. They did not anticipate anything like that was going to happen. So that in place or process to
Absolutely.
ensure that if ESA makes an allegation like that, we suspend what is happening for us to get to the bottom of it. So emotional. So that in itself is a problem. So I agree. I
Emotion.
think the whole foundation and how this entire coalition, and that's why I question Billy setup, because I know Malik, Prof. Malo long, but Malik ADD, I know them. Malik is great, but not enough to lead an entire transformative agenda for a coalition. What's in fact the agenda? The agenda seems to me that these people are united to remove President Barrow. I don't understand what is the coalition 2026 agenda to begin with. So I think the foundation of it is wrong.
Yeah.
So that's why I said if you're going to court, that's different. If you're going to court, you make a claim and you set out all of the the issues that the court to address. 1, 2, 3. This is what I'm asking.
Absolutely.
So you don't submit
I thought you,
evidence. You
I
don't
think you
even
submit your
submit.
brief to the court, no?
No,
Yes,
but
yes.
what
You
I'm
just
saying,
submit
yes,
your brief. You don't
that's
even
true. That's
submit.
true.
Listen, let me finish. Submit your evidence in the beginning. You have to go to trial, like it is the case in the Gambia. If it is America, they will say discovery, and then you can talk about what evidences are available,
Yeah.
and then eventually, when you go to court, you adduce or you present those evidences. So that's why I said it's not going to
That's what
help
I
if you
was
guys use
saying.
court as an example. But what is going as
Okay.
a Air is making these allegations, he doesn't need to say we have a text message. Publish those text messages online. Publish those informations for the public benefit, because this speaks to the integrity of people who are seeking the most important office in the country. This is not about Talib or this is not about UDP. This is about the very important issues that we accuse the president of and his party, and we have people that are seeking that office in the country. If they have been accused of that, we need to know. It should not just be about Karila Afonya, and that's our argument with Binta yesterday. Or this happened, or that happened, or 30 minutes before the election, SR just left. Tell us, substantiate these allegations to us, because a lot of people who support Talib, I'm sure, including Malmo, I can guarantee you will walk away from supporting Talib Ahmed Bensouda if there is any substance to the argument about allegations of bribery and corruption from Talib Ahmed Bensouda. Because if he doesn't do that, then he knows hold him accountable, as he always holds me accountable to my principles and values. So I think that is the problem. I don't think we can all agree about what is the system of accountability. The problem itself is how they set that up. And that is my only point of difference. But the court argument, I don't think it makes much sense. But Malmo, please. I feel like I've ranted a little bit.
No, no,
No, but Tom, I didn't conclude.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Sorry.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead,
Right?
Tom. Yes.
Yeah. So what I was saying is, okay, I think maybe I don't need to go in that direction because
Fitro,
it's
Fitro
work progress.
Tamidal, but Fitro
Yes.
Tamidal. Let's
Sorry.
wrap up.
But what I want to say is,
You,
that this is why UDP work out. I hear this guy say, UDP, it all that in Kuopan and stuff like that. But since at the beginning, when our party leader came, some of these procedural things, that's what he questioned. Because I listened to his interview when he came from there. When he said, we are not going into any coalition that we are not going to be back. We will stand on our ground. If we are going to fall, we will fall alone and stuff like that. So, but what he said is that, and even some of the United members that are part of the coalition negotiation confirmed this, that when Honorable Usenu Dabo came, what he queried was, this the chairman belong to APP Sobea. And that's when the chairman said, no, but I have resigned from there. Oh, no, I don't have this. I have a movement. All right. And the second this thing that he claimed was that the CMC were claiming for a stake in the government. And the party leader told them that that's not possible. You are doing this as a neutral. You cannot claim for something in the government so in case we happen to win.
So the
So these
professor
are
is
some of the reasons.
this
Yes,
boy is
these are
very
some of the reasons. I don't deny the fact that one can question the professor, his academics and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is, what I'm interested in is to allow the investigation to go ahead. If there is anything so that the public can know what ESA and the team are having, are they also waiting for that investigation to present their evidence? Is also something that if they are given an opportunity, they will present it. So that's where my focus is, and that's where I disagree with Malmo entirely about this issue. All right, and the Unite should be
you
willing
really did not
and then
agree with
open
anything with me.
to say that
Well, we've lost Ibrahima. I'll give Malmo his response, and then Yunus will close us for the day, and then we'll have to because it's been an hour and
I think
it's 1 o'clock.
I wish he was still here. He did not disagree on
He's
anything
here.
with me. He just
Ibrahima is
agreed with he
yeah.
just okay.
He's again.
He just agreed with everything I said. I said this person is not credible to lead it. His party leader mentioned it in the first day. So what did he disagree? He just agreed with me. I equally said that these people that they were giving this mandate to actually do this probably are not the right people to do so. He did agree with that. He said his party left and then, this and that. I had always said that UDP left that, discussion, on conviction and in principle. And I respect them for that. Imagine UDP to be led by a fraudster like that. Imagine movements that do not have, like now the chairman is complaining that some of these movements don't even have 5-10 people, but they should bring 3 people and UDP should bring 3 people to vote for who should lead our country, a political party of 30 years. So what did he disagree? He said the investigation should go on. You know why he's interested in that? Because for them, they have always accused Talib of one thing or another. They want something to say, okay, yes, now we have a validation for what we have been accusing him. And I want that to be done. Because I never said that I don't want that. So what exactly did he disagree with me? I said the chairman shouldn't have resigned. It is his responsibility when there is a problem to fix that problem. How is he going to fix that problem? Let there be an official petition with evidence that they are going to actually probe into. And of course, establish the facts. If they establish the facts that, of course, these people did this and that is very okay. So what exactly is his disagreement? There is no disagreement here. When we listen to each other, we understand. But when we take partisan positions, just trying to taint other people, then we don't get it. Because first I said, this body is not credible because its chairman is not a credible person. He just confirmed that the man is partisan. He confirmed that. Equally, he went to TV and he lied about an education he did not get. Who can actually invalidate that? That is a fact. So I am not here to question somebody's education. I'm only trying to tell you that this person is an imposter, because when he said, I have no education, nobody will question it. But when you say you have something that you don't have, then we will question it. And when you say you are independent, the guy said he resigned from APP Sobea. When there is an issue between APP and Unite, then he took sides. It's just like Yusuf coming to this discussion and say, oh no, I resigned from NPP. And NPP and people have issues, he want to take sides. This is just the fact. All that I have said is that this person is not credible, and what validates his lack of credibility is when there was an issue, he decided to run away. He should have stayed and fixed it. The investigation you are talking about, that is his responsibility and his team. So if he run away from it, who is going to do it? Now, if he did the investigation and realized that what would you say? Because atolla interest is so what we want that to be validated here. But even though you people have constantly been alleging this person, you've never brought out any substantial evidence, including your chairman in Brikama. You are a Muslim, a practicing one, and I believe in your scholarship. Now tell me, if somebody comes out and say kitim mole narante ko kitim dukule, is it not incumbent upon you to come out and tell us who actually said that? But up till date, we did not hear that. We cannot substantiate. They can insult all they want. You know what? that speaks to the country and the larger people to understand what is going on. Because one thing is, I have always given a lot of respect to the opposition. But if you people want to come into this counter whatever, simply because you have something against Talib, that is very okay. But one thing I know is I will speak my truth without fear of any contradiction. I will speak my truth that I believe that this is what I think is true, and without any fear of what somebody else think. You know? Because in short, life
so let's have
just what it is. So
okay.
I'm going to conclude it on that. And then it baby come
So
in.
I think Malmo asked me question. I think I can just 1
No,
second to
I did not.
respond to
I did
that.
not ask you. I did not ask any question. We've
Nobody
already.
said kidding. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
kidding nada. I thought okay,
you gotta go kidding. Be honest. Yeah, they gotta go kidding. Be honest. You understand and stuff like that. So what I'm saying is, I don't. I've never accused Talib Bensouda of being corrupt. And I always see you going after Kiaman Yankuba. Okay, me as an individual, I don't accuse Talib. What I believe in,
not going after.
okay,
I said if you say somebody said somebody tried to corrupt Talib, then you should tell us who that
yes.
person is. That is transparency. That is
So
accountability.
for me, what my stand is, and what I'm going to conclude, in this matter is that Tom, for me, what I believe in when issues like this come, we need to allow an investigation. Like Tom said, the foundation itself, there was no room for such kind of thing. So in case this kind of issue come up, and that's where the problem lies. And you see this kind of discussion can bring such kind of things in life. Right? So now what we all have to agree is that, or what I want Malmo to understand is, I don't have a grievance against Talib, but I should hold Talib accountable like the way Malmo is holding other people accountable. You know, that's the fair game. Now I believe that I didn't say that Talib is corrupt. I didn't say that Talib corrupt people. Okay? Me, if you have been observant, you always know that I said Talib is a betrayer. And I stand on my ground on that. Okay? Anywhere I will say that, I say Talib betrayed UDP. Okay, because why? No, Mano, allow me. Allow me to conclude. Okay? I said that and I stood on my ground. Anywhere I will say that, but I didn't say Talib is a fraudster. I didn't say that. But someone accused them of being involved in corruption or an inducement. I am advocating for what? For an investigation for every Gambian to have an opportunity to see whether Talib, in fact, what they are accusing him and his team is true or not. That will give Malmo and the opportunity to tell Gambians that, what UDP is saying, what UDP members are saying against Talib is not true. But what Malmo is saying is that what UDP are saying is not true, but Malmo also cannot say that, no, Talib is not corrupt.
I did not say anything like that. Just like any
yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
But you cannot also sit in your political office and tell people that somebody came to me and said he want to bribe me because they bribed Talib, and you cannot give any evidential proof to that. That in itself is disingenuous.
Yeah, I didn't agree to that. I didn't agree to that. I'm not going to accuse anybody. What I am advocating for, when someone
you want to succeed Dabo, he want to succeed Dabo, and you think tainting his image is the right way to do it? Moro.
But there is nothing wrong with Talib becoming ambitious to succeed Dabo. There is nothing wrong with that.
I thought we were concluding.
What is for me? What I believe
conclude because
yeah.
you guys are. Look, we need to conclude. Okay, Yusuf. Dukare nakacha kumfa bi, but then in Mefudala Yusuf found Mbafula Mol Mumeko. Mojama have been watching online, especially on YouTube. Thank you all for being here. I hope you all enjoyed the comment. But please, I'll subscribe to YouTube and support what we're doing. That way, you're the first person to know when we're having conversations like this. My guest today, obviously, Ibrahim Fadera. Kitim, he's part of UDP and in NPP, National Student President, Yusuf Kunkala.
UDP do feel na mi afo ko ha kunu ndafa na man so mal mo mi ko yana fana ko kana mula conversation be ke wolu ni UDP ngol ndagal support le du kana wolu ngino
kunu binda
maybe no opinion
no they are obsessed. The UDP are obsessed with you.
Yeah, no, it's not about Malmo. it's not about Malmo. Yala na kunuming hapun daya. Even I was in the
Yeah, I
comment
saw
section
it.
saying
It's
that
wrong.
some have
Yeah.
to,
But
yeah,
you
drop
know,
Binta long
Yeah.
thing.
and this would be the
Yeah,
last time
understand.
because
But what,
I would
what,
agree to this because him and brother, you know, him and I go way back. You know, we you know, I'm gonna beating.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
but on again, nara jana
But
you know,
we
dole
put,
be je wala be diari to nga dole je janna fa ngai e bo ku kilo ngala jari fa mo nangala an nal be den dañum bankol la
no,
you
that's not
know
right. That's
you
not
are a
right.
very
That's not
decent
right.
person man moro o man ke beating man it's been many years man you know so
And nga po nendiro
Yeah, I
omare
know.
nendiro doleta na momo nendiro ke comments ndeke bondila just so you know you're going to blacklist. I don't care
ay
about
apoy ka ko
Kafuko.
bani
No.
dro ke mo la jande you know either
Nye
we or
ban
that
ndiro ke
system
jang
wala ke moy
ye
bani
ye
kana ka
insulting ke
ban dro sa
yep,
mo la jang
or you go personally at people, I block you. Easy.
yeah, which is
I'm just
not right.
letting you
Kunun
know.
dole na be
Yes.
safero le be sistan no nyim fam banen ka o man ka ku ken
Call
de
it for
man
it.
you know let's
Yep.
not do that you
So
know yeah ala opinion mala opinion le and afana mo
yeah.
gambian already you know I'm not you know she's right to support anybody and she's right to challenge anybody so this platform we allow anybody and everybody to speak their mind because that is it you know I could have said no don't bring Yusuf but I said you know what Yusuf is a gentleman he's you know even though I don't support NPP but he has a stake in this country
Yep.
alenka sonno you know ngan sonno modi yele nyoy kon dolle den tanyim bankola
Huh.
if we do that, even these tribal rhetorics would all go away because at the end of the day, a nation is developed on constructive, discussions about, the welfare of our people.
Mhm.
And that can come
Absolutely.
from both the ruling and of course the opposing sides. But only with cool heads, not, we see things in a different light. Bara butunde namol de nyindungol kono de mantra kondande na kula baga. Bara fo enten
No,
tamina
Malmo,
bul.
it's not about you. Look, it's not for me. I want to conclude that it's not about Malmo. It's about us discussing issues that matter. You understand? And it's very important that we have such kind of a platform where we can agree and disagree. You understand? It's very important, and it doesn't matter whether UMC or UDP or NPP. What is important is that we can have a decent conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can agree and disagree. Those
Yeah.
who are insulting and stuff like that, when you insult, you have nothing to say. That's why. All
Yeah.
Exactly.
right. For me,
And
that's
that's why
that's
I
what
like
that's what
this.
I mean.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I know for
Those who
sure.
insult did not have
Yeah.
anything to say.
And that's my
But
conception of it too, Ibrahim, because Malmo and I know an individual like you, we've known you for years, and we also know your engagements and interaction or your modus operandi of doing it. You are level headed, you're intelligent, but you're also an intellectual. And our conversations are not grounded on personalities or extraneous or peripheral issues. It's grounded on Kol Miyalonko are going to add value to the conversation for the country. That's the most important thing. So Yusuf, Imete
We should,
Batulale,
we should remove Yusuf from government. That should
Ah,
be
nde
an
okay.
eyes responsibility.
Nde,
This third
I'm,
term.
yeah, no.
Yeah, you should bring Yusuf on a special show that we are going to grill him. Because this third term,
Yeah.
this
I,
auditor general
one
removal,
thing
and
one
this,
thing I know,
I don't know why you
Yusuf
bring
can
Yusuf
hold
in a
no
bigger
Yusuf,
panel.
one thing I know, Yusuf can hold his own fort. So Yusuf is not anybody you can walk over. Yusuf
Yeah,
can
so
hold his own
bring
fort.
him again.
Okay, Yusuf, go
We
is
want
ahead.
to
it,
know why
yeah,
NPP
is
is
it?
so hell bent on third term.
I said to people, go in other countries, Nimasa kuna be difficulties to they try to divide a person. They put their hand in their basket, in their mouth, in their stuff. But in Gambia, we don't do that. It tell them mal be fantinyaka. It started me, to be honest. Like the opposition cannot come together.
It
But
makes
I
you happy.
understand why they cannot come together.
It makes you happy.
Honestly,
When you studying you, it makes you happy.
I genuinely want us to have that opposition where I mean that force is good to have that. But let me just go to the coalition 2026. For me, from get-go, I believe it was dead on arrival because looking at the personalities that involved, because I've been privileged to be involved in Gambian politics since 2018, during the mayoral elections. So I was deeply involved in Papanjai's campaign and behind the scene. So I sit in a room where a lot of things are discussed. So I know most of these personalities that were in coalition talk be that at the secretary or whatever communication level. I know all of them. So if to me they cannot go anywhere, there was not going to be an agreement, and UDP there was not going to agree. UMC was not going to agree, and the key player there really was UMC and UDP. That's the truth. And Mama Kande. These were the three factors. And people were keenly watching over these people activities. And we are still very much interested in your activities. Okay? We are not going to write them off. No. That's why we worked very hard and make sure we got Mama Kandi on our side. That's not a weakness. Okay. That's a politic of strategy. Because government is very big for one person to say that I just have to take government
For
and
me,
that is
for
it.
me,
So we need everybody involved, including the UMC.
No, no, no.
So I'm publicly extending I'm publicly extending our hands to MGMC through bro Malmo you. So for you guys
UDP UMC is going to join Barrow. Never at all.
to
You know,
come
we
on
are still
board,
asking the question: Who killed the
change what
cops?
so we need everybody on board because like I said, government is very wide and we need everybody on board. At the end of the day, we all want Gambia to progress. And really and truly, if we want to have a democracy that is stable, we must have a balanced political parties. And we must have balanced political ideologies. And political parties also must embrace internal criticism and internal pressure and internal resistance to some of the policies of the political establishment. In NPP, we have that. We have people that who have completely off or other group of set of people. But that doesn't mean we should bring the roof down. I don't know, it's because we are in government. That's what is protecting us. I can't conclusively speak on that. But I do know this kind of fractions exist everywhere. But it should not be about bringing the party down or bringing individual down. It's about bringing the idea that we believe is not serving the best interest of Gambia down and pushing the idea that you believe that it will serve the Gambia. So for me, I am open for political parties that open for internal criticism, internal pressure, internal grouping, but it's not lead to division. As for our opposition parties, I mean, we are going to election. We should all know that either we all come together eventually, or they work together, or we work against each other. Let's know that the power should not be rational. Okay, the political participation is all about serving the Gambia and Gambian people. Let's make sure that our political leaders, their public commentary should be in the cause of advancing our democracy and uniting us. Our political leaders must desist, including those of us that are fortunate or privileged to be having a platform on speaking our mind and speaking on national issues. There are some critical national issues that should be addressed with maximum constraint, not because you don't want to speak against it, but because it fuel it more if you also add up your voice in a way that anger many people. So therefore, election years, Gambia does not know election of killing, election of fight, election of vandalism. So it should not start in our time as a young people. So for me and
Okay, Mr.
from our
President, I
part,
can understand.
from our part, we will not NPP. We will never instruct government machineries, including the police or any other arms, to go and obstruct election or obstruct movement of any opposition party. If I see it, I would definitely condemn it because it's not something that we
Did
should
you
encourage.
condemn the last
And
one? They were beating UDP people.
we've never beaten
We will
UDP
never
people
condemn it.
anywhere. It was
Huh?
a,
We will
it
never
was a
condemn
camera.
it.
Where did we beat UDP people? In
The,
Hussein
ga-
Dabo's house in Kai Pipeline?
the paramilitary were beat for the video. UDP people come out again. Wait a moment.
But
Ah,
I'm sure they were disciplined.
You are
you
so,
I'm
know,
but you
sure they
never
were
discipline.
disciplined. No, they were disciplined.
Yusuf,
We will
Yusuf,
not support that.
Yusuf,
We will not support that. And I thank
Yusuf.
you very much, you
One,
guys are my seniors. I mean, you
No,
guys
you're
are my
good. You're
I,
seniors.
good.
I mean,
boom.
I
From
had I
Yusuf,
had I
Yusuf,
heard about
before
all
you
of
go,
you. Umar, let me learn because me, I don't intend to come back again.
No, don't say
So you
that,
guys are my
please.
seniors,
No,
and
you can
no, I mean
don't
I don't
say.
intend to come back to the
Okay.
topic again. I want to give them
Okay.
chance. Of course,
Oh,
I will
okay.
come back.
Sorry.
I love to be in this
Yeah.
platform. Actually, let me
Okay.
publicly say this. I actually texted Ibrahim that we've never repeated what we had last time that I wasn't able
Yeah.
to join. As a
Yeah.
result, he bring me up. So, technical, I requested to be here. That means I
That's
appreciated
good.
this platform. And I mean, I'm always looking forward to be with you guys. You guys are doing great for this content. A lot of people listen to all of you. I'm including myself. I'm inspired by what you all are doing for Gambia because if you are seeing a Gambian living in abroad, living their life, and they are creating a platform like this, and they don't focus on anything but nation, our national discussion. You guys are broadening our national conversation. We no longer have to be dependent on print medias or mainstream media, but now we are in a where people, the large constituency of the Gambians reside is the social media, and having platform like this is very good for us because whatever we share here go across the board, and doesn't matter it's come from who. So I mean that doesn't make anybody different, but at the end of the day, having Gambians abroad wanting Gambia to move forward, being interested in what our government does is very, to me, it really motivates me because I used to live in abroad. In those days, when I was there, I hardly see Gambian discuss about Gambia. I see only Nigerian, Ghanaian, and South African talking about their country, even when they're outside. But I'm seeing Gambian doing this kind of like this. So I'm very much grateful and happy to see you guys doing this. And from UTG side, I mean, I was very involved in UTG. So having such with the same people that pass through the same level with me is an honor and privilege for me. So I'll keep learning from all of you and keep giving
I
our
hope you are
best
not
for our
alien.
content.
Thank you, thank you, thank you,
I
thank
am
you.
I am I am of coalition. So
Yusuf,
they actually the
Yusuf,
coalition
Yusuf,
20
before you go,
coalition
before you go,
2026 should
I
have
think,
invited
Tom,
people like me to come and mediate.
I think what we can do is,
Thank you.
for me, I'll be very interested to talk about policies and program, with Malmo together with Yusuf, because I think this election is going to be a defining moment. It's not going
It
to be
is.
an election between an opposition and an incumbent. This is an election between Gambians and Gambians. Do you know why I said that this is an election when Gambians have to determine their fate? This is an election when Gambians have to determine the type of security they want to have. All right. I just lost my sister last 2 days. She was the one
I'm
that was
sorry.
murdered when she
Can we
left,
go now and
in the
discuss that
morning.
next time? Can we go now,
No,
please?
no, let me just
It's
conclude.
getting
I
too
just want to
late.
conclude. It's going to be an election when Gambians have to determine their own security. It's going to be an election when Gambians have to determine which kind of healthcare system they want to have. It's going to be an election when Gambians have to determine the prices that they are going to have in their market, in their boutiques and every places that they go. It's going to be an election to determine which kind of education system we are going to have in our society. It's going to be an election that is going to determine whether we are going to continue nurturing tribalism and hatred towards each other in our society or not. So this is not going to be an election between an opposition and an incumbent. This is an election when Gambians have to determine their fate, and Gambians will determine their fate in a more respectable manner. They will go out and vote this government out, and inshallah they are going to bring United Democratic Party government led by Honorable Usainu Dabo, and then Malmo and others will come and back us, inshallah.
Well, gentlemen, we have to leave it here. I cannot, for the life of me, continue. I'm exhausted. And Malmo SNJ, I think, is messaging to ask me whether we're still on. I'm like, Esa, let me check with Malmo first. So I'll probably check with you. Maybe we can probably record an episode this evening. But for sure, I mean, Kitim, you'll be back here, I'm sure. And we're also going to bring Yusuf back. And let me just say this publicly. Bantaba on Saturdays, Malmo and I keep saying this. We are honestly open to everyone. If you have something to say, obviously we interrogate you. If you say something's problematic, if you come here, we will ask you. Because what we don't do is we are not just interested in platforming anybody, but we're interested in the substance that you have. So we don't silence anybody. We're not interested in not having dialogue with anybody. The Bantaba, it is what it is. We name it Bantaba for a reason. If you have something to say, reach out to Malmo or reach out to me, and then we'll do our own assessment and see if you have something important to say and not just coming because you just want to argue or fight. We can do that too. Pretty much Malmo and I are good at it. You can tell, right? We can literally do that too because we've done it. We've debated all of our lives at the university. We've done this, but we also know how to put it together to make sure we get something important out there. So, if any of you want to come at any point, I'll be reaching out to any of you, if depending on what's going on in the Gambia, because it's a current affairs segment. But once again, thank you all so much, gentlemen. I appreciate all of you being here. I appreciate your good faith dialogue and conversations, and I hope that a lot of people also enjoyed the conversation as well. For those of you that are in the comments online, watching us on YouTube and also on Facebook, thank you so much for being here and for trusting us with 2 hours or over 2 hours of your time to listen to what we're doing. Please share the interview, share the conversation, and also make sure to subscribe. We'll see you all next week, Saturday again.